leading people into AI, I have always sensed it's demonic because I'm telling you, I don't even think these people are human. Like I look at Elon Musk and Sam Altman and Peter Thiel, and I'm pretty sure they're hybrid. You know what I mean? Like they just look like an Apple software that I should be able to download at night, you know? Like my phone's getting an update or something. It's something in the eyes. Like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if I stabbed you if you bleed, you know? I'm not gonna stab them, but I don't know if they bleed all the way. I think a battery would fall out, you know what I mean?
Total demolition within days. That's what 2 administration officials tell NBC News is now the fate of the historic East Wing of the White House to make way for President Trump's massive new ballroom.
It'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world. It's about $300 million.
Probably the most insidious was providing intelligence to the Mexican law enforcement that led to the arrest of a CJNG cartel-affiliated baby trafficker called La Diabla. Her whole money-making operation was centered around luring pregnant women, performing illegal C-sections, harvesting organs, and selling newborn babies.
Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Leah was making some of the most amazing faces just now.
Every time she tells me things, she says, I'm getting ready to unmute, which makes me want to say something.
You often do anyway.
It's
not even like, it's like, okay. That would be the appropriate response to I'm unmuting if you can't not say something.
I normally do.
No, it's not. You'll say something else, just random.
I don't remember. But then she also says, smile. And so, like, I don't like fake things. So when she says smile, it's like, I'll smile when I need to smile, when it's appropriate smile. Like when it comes naturally. So when I can hear her in the back of my head, she didn't say it this time. She says it like 9 times out of 10. Smile, and so I just trying to make it.
You didn't. You started off. You went like that.
Working it out.
You opened your mouth really big, wide,
stretching. I was stretching it
because you got to eat something.
Because the smile, my smile was tight, so I was stretching it. It was
It sounds like that's so painful looking. If that's what you have to do to make a smile. We have problems.
Feel like
your smile muscles are not worked out enough. We need to work on them.
It feels like we do. We need to work out on them.
Okay.
Work them out.
What will make you smile? The big, the beautiful.
That is not making me smile.
The huge, the greatest ballroom that was ever a ballroom. America needs a ballroom, and I'm going to make it happen. Trump's got a ballroom.
Ballroom that have ever.
So I actually am not at all opposed to America having a ballroom. I think that's super cool.
Really?
I'm going to be honest. Hang on. Let me finish my thought. I also am not opposed. This is going to make some of you guys like your eyebrows raise. I'm not even opposed to us paying for it. Like this was donated, but like I'm not opposed to the government paying for it. However,
yeah,
there are other places to put a ballroom. I don't think it needs to be at the White House.
I feel like the demolition derby.
I think that demolitioning, is that the right word? Demolishing, thank you. Demolishing the White House is inappropriate and wrong and feels sacrilegious.
So I didn't know this. I was listening to Glenn Beck and Stu.
Oh, yeah.
Is he beef or chicken?
Leah, stop it.
Baboon ching. Anyways, so Stu was having a problem because he had a beef.
Leah, here it comes.
With, like, there not being some sort of, like, appropriation in Congress to make that kind of change.
Sure.
So Glenn Beck proceeds to say that he talked to Trump, and Trump talked to the White House architect. We have an official architect, and he is in charge. Like nobody's in charge of him. He's just in charge. So he's the one.
Trump or the architect?
The architect.
Yeah, but like, what
So
do
he's the
we
one that
what
can
do we
tell Trump-
architect? It's
Well, anything that you want to do to the White House, like Trump wanted to put up 2 flagpoles through the architect. Can
You're
you do it?
joking.
Can you do it? And he did it.
okay.
So it's supposed to keep everything, mamby-pamby or whatever. And so he told Trump that he could do it. And Trump said, okay, what do I need to do? And he's like, you have to pull the right permits, and you got to have all the right permits signed. He's like, okay, how long do you think it's going to take to get these permits approved? He said, well, you're the one that approves them. So how long does it take you to sign the papers? And then and so it took no time because obviously he's the president. So like he can approve all things federal, all things.
Well, it's not exactly true. It is technically supposed to go through Congress.
He could technically paint the White House black. I know. He's president.
Don't give anybody any ideas.
It would be depressing, but
We've gone through phases where we all felt like it was the Black House,
yes,
like just of darkness. I mean,
yeah.
Woodrow
So here's the
Wilson
thing.
was.
So
it
I
felt
didn't
like
know
it was
this,
like the
but
Black House.
FDR
Yeah,
put on the
Black House again.
Put on the East Wing and the West Wing.
Okay.
It was just the House.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So he did that with appropriated money from nowhere. I think government money, and it was a put the nation to work type deal.
Okay.
And so he's ripping off part of the East Wing, I believe.
Okay. So
And
now you just introduced a new part of this. I have a
he's
fuzz
not
on
ripping
my mouth.
up part of the
No,
White
no, I know
House,
that. I
but
get
of
that.
the
I get
East
that.
Wing
That's not.
created by
Hang on.
FDR.
Wait. But I really wanted to just give you an overview of the stories, but now we're just talking about this. So let's go. Here's the thing. Let's go. We're talking about the White House here. Technically, it's not God's house, so don't go getting all up in FDR.
Your hair looks nicer on this camera than it does in human.
What is that supposed to mean?
It's a good look you've got going on, and that hair looks really neat on camera, like very.
What
like,
you're
look at that
saying is
bun.
what you're telling the audience is Michelle does not look good in person, but it's nice for them.
No, what I'm saying is that it's cocaine. It's cool. It's cool in person, but like on camera, it's like it looks like one of the like special Asian hairdos. I like it.
You know why my hair ended up like this?
I don't know.
Because I was sitting
Never
down
seen
here.
it before.
Yeah, I wear my hair like this all the time.
No,
Yes,
not like
I do.
that.
Yes, I do.
The bun has
Leah.
it's kind of like it's on some sort of thing, like and it's normally like a little bit flatter, a little bit, but it's never like that. It's,
Yes, it is. It's like this. It's every time I wear it in a bun, this is what it does. So I'm going to tell you, this is, so I was
Not
sitting down
true.
here with my hair like this,
Not true.
with minus sans the hillside on the head here, the mountaintop. And I had earmuffs on.
Oh wait, I have something to tell you about that. So we need to get out a measuring stick. So the Army has come out with new
You are
rules.
interrupting my story.
Hang on, you come back to it. The Army has come out with new hair rules, and black people are a little upset, but it's actually loosening some rules. But like, you can't have thickness of hair more than 2 inches. So some black women have like kind of hair that goes out. Unfortunately, like soft hair.
Like an afro.
Yeah. So unfortunately, that's how their hair grows.
You
or their
can't
hair goes
your
up.
hair can't go out more than 2 inches.
Yeah. So it's I think it's kind of a racist deal because like some of these girls that 2.5 maybe 3 inches of hair that kind of goes out is not in the way. But that wouldn't qualify.
Well, here's why that concerns me. I don't ever want to be in the military. And unless we turn into the Ukraine, I don't think I ever will be. But I always envisioned if I was going to be a cop or in the military, I was going to do, the 2 French braids and then wrap it around. But that would make me thicker than the braid wrap, which would be as tight as I could possibly get my hair short of cutting it off, would be thicker than the 2 inches. And I'm like, so you're telling me I'd have to cut my hair.
Boom.
That's depressing. Okay, so anyway, the reason why I was down here, I had my hair up in a bun, had my earbuds on because it is freezing here. I'm pretty sure that this afternoon got to 30 below zero here in Ohio. I did not get much sleep last night, so I took a nap and I woke up from my nap to come down here and put the show together. And I was so cold that I completely changed everything. I grabbed 2 scarves, a head. And so I thought about just going live with the head thing on. And I thought, no, but I was also too tired to do anything fancy with my hair, this is how you got, this took me 2.5 seconds.
I have a short
and I'm still like,
shirt on, so.
You were working outside.
And then came in.
And I was working outside yesterday very hard, by the way. And to the point where I couldn't sleep last night. I was so sore.
We're going to the chiropractor soon.
Okay. I woke up like a cowboy getting off the like can't move. So I didn't get so yesterday when I was outside working hard.
Does this have anything to do with the White House?
I was not cold.
Okay. Okay.
So you were outside working hard.
Okay.
That doesn't change the fact that it's cold here.
Does this have anything to do with the White House?
No, you're the one that brought
tonight?
it up. I was talking about the White House thing.
And
you looked at my
complimenting
hair.
your I was trying to give you a compliment, but you didn't take
There's
it.
a story behind that. There's always a story. And so at some point, Patriot Gallery turned the heat on. We don't use the heater. We're waiting on Matt to put the cap back on the wood burning stove so we can fire up the wood burning stove. And so the heater is running, but it is not doing its job.
Well, you need some warm tea.
Yeah.
I have some right here. You want it?
I've got nice ice cold water here.
That's the opposite of what you need right now. Okay. What does it have to do with the White House? Anything? Okay, here. I know. So we'll overview some of these stories. Ready?
Sherry says, when I was in the Air Force, I had a single French braid with the tail tucked up.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. So the Diablo.
The lady.
Devil.
Oh,
did the Diablo,
La
the devil,
Diabla.
La Diabla of Mexico.
Like the mistress of Satan.
So this should probably be a bigger story. And it's not like CNN and nobody's covering this. They have uncovered like legit a woman in Mexico who was trafficking children and organ trafficking.
Can you believe that?
She was known as the devil. And Tulsi Gabbard found her. And we're going to talk about that. But
she doesn't look like much.
She certainly doesn't look like the devil. But she'll cut your heart out.
You are so full of dad jokes today. Wow. Okay,
Eat it like in Last of the Mohicans.
So we're going to get to the beef with stew in a second here. There's more Leah's dad jokes.
Put your heart in there so she will stew your beef.
Right. Leah's going to really
heart.
put her heart into today's show. So, Leah, you sent me all these titles for today, and I went with my main title being the Team Tucker versus Ted Cruz just because visually it looked cooler. But you didn't send me a video on it at all. So tell us what this is.
I didn't?
No, you did not. That's okay.
Well, if you are not on Twitter, which technically I'm not.
You guys are going to hear about that at every show from here until
I submitted
whenever.
appeal number 555. So if you're not there, you won't see this absolute childishness but these are grown adults. Ted Cruz is tweeting out Tucker on the Israeli thing. Laura Loomer absolutely loathes and hates Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene's daughter is on Twitter constantly weighing in, fighting for her mom.
Sure,
she actually posted a video of her doing this.
My mama.
She's like, my mom is in my guest room doing an interview with Tucker, and so she records her on the outside of the room. It's kind of funny. She's like, my mom's in there right now talking to Tucker. It's hilarious. So she's weighed in, and that's been funny to watch. But this week, there's a whole group of people that are waking up to, hey, we are actually America first, and there's a group of Israelis and Jewish people that are funding social media influencers. So lo and behold, the reason why Dennis Prager has been working so hand in hand with Christians is because he was sent to be a controller, basically, of the Christian narrative. Because if you can get Christians to believe in dispensationalism and that their salvation and their blessing from God is based on them blessing Israel, the actual nation, then you can really do just about anything, because these Christians are as gullible as all get out. Okay. So Ted Cruz is there on stage with the dispensationalist, Lord, can I not say that? John Hagee is not a healthy looking person. Okay.
Thank you. Whatever you were about to say, I'm glad that you didn't. Good job.
He's not a healthy looking person. And we used to grow up watching him on TBN, him and his very thin, healthy looking wife, who I don't even know if she's alive anymore. And you kept looking at, and you're like, how did these two end up together? I don't know. I don't know how any of these preachers end up with their like model looking wives because they just cast spells on people. But anyways, John Hagee was always talking about like it's the end of times, it's the end of times, it's the end of times, Jesus come back, Jesus come back. And I was like 5. And I'm not 5 anymore. And I'm still here. And guess what? I'm going to be 105 at least. And I will still be here. Because Jesus is not coming back in my lifetime. Because he came back in 80, 70. Okay? All right, pumpkin. All right. So y'all waiting for Jesus to come back. And you will turn into a skeleton waiting for him to come back and rapture you out of here. And one of the reasons why you keep thinking it is people like John Hagee and the dispensationalists out there saying he who blesses Israel will be blessed. And we don't really even need. And you know what other things John Hagee said? John Hagee has come out and said things like, we don't even want to missionize or try to lead Jews to Jesus because they're just going to come to Jesus. So we really don't want to rile any feathers. That is directly on account of, I'm guessing now, dawned on me yesterday, John Hagee's taking money from Israel. He absolutely has to be. And I'm just, not saying that I know that for a fact, but I am guessing that he has to be. All right.
Go ahead. I want to make a comment before you move on, because there are the people that watch our show that watch our show. And then there's the people that only occasionally watch our show or have only recently started watching our show. And if you throw out a statement like Jesus is not coming back because he came back in AD 70, they're all going to go, oh, shoot, we have stumbled on the wrong freaky podcast. These people are cray cray, and delete, never watching again. Okay. That's a very big statement to make without any backstory for people who have no idea what you're talking about.
Pill. Jesus,
we are not saying that Jesus is never coming back. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people confusing the end times fervor of everything has to get worse and worse and worse in order for Jesus to come back.
Just read this book.
Leah's talking about R.C. Sproul's The Last Days According to Jesus. We are not a cult, I promise you. Leah did not throw out a cult statement, although listed by itself would have you think otherwise. Raise your hand and leave in the comments if when Leah said that, you all went, hang on a minute.
John Hagee is a cult, and he's up on stage with Ted Cruz, who believes that you shouldn't try to win Jews to Jesus. That's a cult, okay? Every Jew needs to confess Jesus as Lord and Savior.
Amen.
Okay? All right, so Team Ted Cruz versus Team Tucker. So on Tucker's side, you have Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, Marjorie Taylor Greene, real America First people, okay? There is an underbelly of political activists who are making money, who are spending money, and every single congressperson has a representative from Israel. So what I would say is, you want to think that that's normal? Does every single person in Congress have a representative from Ireland, from Samoa, from Brazil, from Argentina? No, you don't, okay?
And the defense of that is, well, they could if Ireland wanted to send one, but they don't. And the question is, why is Israel the only one that does?
Right. Okay, so Tucker has on Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about, we don't want to be in foreign wars. We want to be out, America first. And
is this the tweet I'm bringing up?
No.
Okay.
Can we bring up anything?
Okay.
I don't have anything.
Okay,
I don't have anything up right now.
Carry on then. I'm just trying to be ahead of the game.
Okay. Well, if you want to be ahead of the game, you could probably bring out, we'll go to this one, which is so hilarious. We'll start with the, with the Ballroom.
So we're not starting with Ted Cruz and?
No, we're talking about all the different deals.
The stories.
And so then we're going to round off the show tonight. Talking about inflation and Trump and all of his spots.
Favorite subject.
Would love to say that prices are down, prices are down, prices are down, prices are down. And then normal people, because of this government shutdown, there are rumors that people who are on SNAP benefits, which are EBT, which are food stamps, are not going to get them for November. And right now, Trump said that somebody donated $200 or $150 million to fund troop salaries.
It's 130, but you're welcome.
Is that
keep going? It's fine.
2 or 1?
It was an anonymous donor.
And supposedly there are troops who still aren't getting paid, and they're in food lines. So we're going to talk about that right now. All right, so let's go to the ballroom. while people are starving to death. Just kidding. Oh, I know the ballroom was 250. It's like, you know, what's 100?
But which, that was also donated.
But we don't know by whom.
But we don't. I don't
And
think it
we
was
don't
anonymous, but it's like we don't know what.
And
who
we
it
don't
is.
know for what in exchange.
I know. And that's what really bothers me about a lot of this stuff. Okay. I think I've got it ready.
What two administration officials tell NBC News is now the fate of the historic East Wing of the White House to make way for President Trump's massive new ballroom.
It'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world. It's about $300 million.
That ballooning price tag up from $200 million, with the president saying he's covering the cost, along with private donors, among them Comcast, NBC's parent company. The East Wing teardown coming despite this earlier promise.
It won't interfere with the current building. It'll be near it, but not touching it.
Now, as the debris pile is growing, so is the backlash.
I just can't believe that the wrecking ball is taken to this iconic structure that symbolizes America and our strength and culture.
The president noting the East Wing, home base to first ladies for decades, has seen changes over the years.
It was never thought of as being much. It was a very small building.
Now, the National Trust for Historic Preservation warning administration officials the planned 90,000 square foot ballroom will overwhelm the White House itself at 55,000 square feet as Americans watch history under renovation.
Look at the itty bitty White House compared to the great big ballroom. It's literally twice or three times the size as the White House. I feel like maybe. So we were watching this renovation show, right?
Restoration Man
in the UK.
Really fun show from the UK.
In one show we watched, the council told them that they could not make it bigger than the house itself because it couldn't overshadow it.
So I feel like if anybody knows anything about the UK and planning, it's what they call it. It's like a planning committee.
The
but
White
they just
House
call it
is
planning.
coming down next, isn't it?
So I think that even the Queen, well, she's dead now, but the King cannot override planning in the UK. I think they're that big. So I have a sneaking suspicion that like America might need that at the very minimum for the White House. But looking at this, I am going to say, I'm going to stick with my first statement that I am not against us having a ballroom. I actually think it's a good idea. I think it's fun. I think it's very
But does it need to be
hearkening.
bigger than the White House itself?
I don't think it needs to be next to the White House. I think they could have found another place within driving distance of the White House that they could have put this place. And you know how I can prove it to you?
Prove it.
Wherever they have been holding all of these White House dinners is not next to the White House.
Yeah.
Those big, they've done the balls. Where was that? Was that right next to the White House? No. So
we should have just annexed like the Hyatt Hotel or something.
yeah, like eminent domain,
do
a big
that.
giant hotel. I'm joking, but seriously, you
not-
could have
I'm not
offered a big
joking.
amount of money.
Yeah, for $200 million, you probably could have bought a hotel.
Because let me tell you what this is the way that I believe that Trump thinks.
I feel like it was a bit much.
It's way bit much. So Trump is looking at this going, we've got the real estate. I don't have to buy the land. You know what I mean? This is the way like Trump thinks.
I know, but like getting rid of that much green space, it used to be a garden. Now, like the garden itself was concreted over.
I know. He's literally like, ugh,
Do we really want a real estate magnate
as a
doing
president?
this? What are your thoughts, guys? It seems a bit ostentatious, is the word I would give it.
And I don't even mind ostentationism. Is that a word? I don't even mind
Your
that.
hands are cold. Do you want to put them you want to like
I'm fine.
go put them under
I'm
the
okay.
heater or
I'm
something?
okay.
Come back.
They're not that bad. They could.
You're very cold.
So I actually think that we need more, like, you know, when you go to the Kremlin,
Yes.
like the inside of it, that is ostentatious.
Yeah.
Like it's gorgeous. And like, so we look at all of these other government houses and buildings in Europe and they're beautiful. We don't have anything like that. So Trump's been traveling the world and he's seeing what all of these other countries have. And he's like, we need something like that, which we don't have. Like we have the White House, which for all intents and purposes isn't even that big in 2025 compared to like mansions that people live in. It's had things built on it, but like the White House itself hasn't gotten like bigger. Okay. So I don't have a problem with us having a little bit more pizzazz, you know, but right next to the White House, tearing parts of the White House off, I'm against. The last thing I'm going to say is this. When you brought up the fact that FDR is the one that put on, you said the West Wing and...
East and West Wing.
So then that's when I went, okay, so maybe we need a little exorcist. Maybe the East and West Wing shouldn't be there because FDR is one of the most evil presidents we've ever had. Just throwing it out there. There could be a little something. But I don't think that Trump is the one to exorcise. Because then we might have an entire ballroom that's full of demons.
We don't want that.
Right. I'm just throwing that out.
We don't want an entire ballroom full of demons.
You're right. All time. We've had this.
You had me. Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. So here we go with Stu and Glenn. I have not seen this clip. I'm eager to call see.
It beef.
Leah, it's rude. Is this a timestamp you want?
Probably.
Conversation about how you project American power.
Yes.
And I think Trump's approach to, particularly, I mean, we've seen it in the Middle East, but I think it's been effective around the world, of these trappings actually are effective in diplomatic relations with other nations. It's not like just Donald Trump has a lot of places that are lined in gold. He can have meetings.
Yes.
It's not like that's what he wants it for. The left tries to portray it as, he just wants of course he does. He wants this big. No, it means something to him, and he knows how these people think.
No, because I asked him. I won't tell the whole story. I really want to, really desperately. But you know, he's gilding everything, and that's not necessarily my favorite look, you know.
Right.
And
He's gold. He's putting gold on everything.
Tanya and I were alone in the Oval for a while. We were talking about it, and he comes in. He says, "You know, I'm doing all this. You see all the gold?" I'm like, "Yes, I can't miss it. You can't miss the gold." And he's like, "You know, it's so important. These foreign leaders, they all come from palaces, and they don't understand. And I know, you know, the White House is different, America's different, but they understand power in a different way." And he said they're coming from these old countries and these big buildings and these palaces. And he said it is important for us to project power.
Yes.
And that is why he's doing it. It's not because he likes gold. He's doing it to project power and wealth. Notice how many prime ministers, they're all flying in all the time from all over the world. You know, I've never seen a president meet with so many foreign dignitaries in the White House all the time.
Yeah, and the media likes to say, well, that's because he's self-important. And
he's projecting American power.
I think so, too. And when I say it's important to him, that's why it's important to him. Because he believes it's an important tool in that world.
It's not him.
So I'm going to pause that. You can stop that. Now let me give you the right answer.
I would like to comment on that. Maybe before the right answer or after?
After. Let me.
Go ahead.
America was built by settlers, not by immigrants. And the settlers came and they built something out of nothing. These other countries had palaces based on taxes that they raised through peasants.
That's good, Leah.
Through people that they owned. And so when you go to Hungary or Poland or France or even the UK, these big, giant palatial estates are a look into the history of a world of haves and have-nots, of kings and gentry and peasants. When the settlers came to America, they didn't want any of that stuff. They were tired of it. They didn't want to be looked at by the things that they owned or had. They wanted to build their own, to be king of their own palatial estate, whether they built a single cabin with their own two hands. That meant more to the people that came here because most of them were Christians and they knew that they were storing up treasures in heaven. And they knew by reading the scriptures that you are not supposed to honor someone based on their wealth. The Bible says that if you're in church and you honor somebody because of the wealth that they have, that's a sin. It's wrong to honor people based on wealth, and even Paul says, listen, ladies, when you're going to church, do not dress ostentatiously. Do not come in looking like you got the monies. Okay? That's what I would say to Kanye West or anyone else. It doesn't mean you can't look nice. It doesn't mean you can't have nice, good, long-lasting things. It means don't be a show-off. Okay? And so the White House is built. It's a beautiful building. And FDR built the West Wing and the East Wing, and they're actually not that great, and they're not that beautiful. And buildings should be beautiful, and architecture can be beautiful. But if you are doing this for the reason of looking powerful, you've missed the whole foundation of what built America. I want people to come in and say, you know what? This country was built on the foundation of people who worked hard with their own two hands. This country was based on people who were entrepreneurs, who were self-sufficient, who were self-reliant. Okay? And I am going to say your throwback to your big, beautiful ballroom is a throwback to the palaces, to the palatial estates. And what Trump has done, worse than anybody I know and anybody in American history, I believe, has brought in billionaires and millionaires and honored them in a way that is not what our founding fathers intended. We had like Daniel Stinking Boone was a member of Congress who came in with his buckskin and his raccoon tail hat. All right. That is the America that I want other foreign leaders to come and say, yeah, you have your power. You have your wealth. You have your palaces, but we have a people who built this country based on grit and hard work. That's what I have to say. And I don't need to show power through things and buildings and gold. And you have to do that when you don't have real power within you.
Whoa. That was good. Mm-hmm. That was really good.
Because he doesn't have the founding fathers inside. He doesn't know anything about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and the laws of nature. Nature's God.
So I'd like to add, it would have been better for me to do mine first, but that's okay. We can go backwards just a little bit. That's kind of like when Pastor Neil wouldn't go after Apostle Craig. He's like, nope, not doing it. I don't want to go after you after that because that was so good, but I do want to issue this thought. I actually agree with Glenn and Stu on the why Trump is doing it. I think that that's probably a fair take for why he's doing it. So that makes a lot of sense. Leah's commentary makes a lot of sense as well. I think Leah is correct. When you have the power of God behind you, when you have even the power that our founding fathers had, you don't need all of that stuff. What I would say is this. I think that Trump goes to these other countries and he's jealous. He's personally jealous. He's personally embarrassed that we don't have anything like that.
I think so,
But what I would say is that our founding fathers, we didn't have a lot of money. We were coming off of a war. Actually, when was the White House built? I feel like it was two presidents after. It was George Washington. I don't think that John Adams was in the White House. Was he?
We're going to get the date.
I think it was Thomas Jefferson was the first in the White House. Somebody correct me on that. But my point is, our founding fathers, they went around the world when these other nations had palaces. And they had all of that. And we have had 250 years.
1792.
We've had 250 years of our presidents.
John Adams and his wife moved in.
So John Adams was the first one. Okay. Going to other nations and seeing the beauty that they had. And no president felt like they needed to come back and have a comparable.
The cornerstone was built in 1792. Adams and Abigail moved in 1800. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it was quite a ways after the war. So 24 years after the start of the Revolutionary War before the White House was built. That's completed. And someone could move in. So that's really, like, it's a very long time is my point. George Washington, I think a lot of people think that he was in the White House. He wasn't. We didn't have any money. We were just trying to build a country, right? You're talking about like fields. Okay. Anyway, so we didn't need this stuff. And I believe that unfortunately, our founding fathers understood something that Trump does not. That people in the UK, if you guys are watching from the UK, understand, or from anywhere in Europe, you understand that we don't understand. Hang on one second. We are a baby nation. These other nations, a lot of them have been around for a very long time. And so they had time to build these big, beautiful structures. You know what I'm saying? Am I making any sense? So I think that our founding fathers were like, well, we don't need that. We're a baby nation anyway. Like everybody understands, like we're the new kids on the block. We don't have anything fancy. And we don't need anything fancy. That's not what our nation is built upon. We're trying to separate ourselves. And I'll add this last bit, and it goes along with what Leah said, just less powerful. I think that our founding fathers looked at all of that and saw monarchies. And they were like, we're not a monarchy, so why would we have that stuff? You know what I mean? Like a palace is for kings and queens. We don't have a palace because we don't have kings and queens, which is ironic because there was just the big no kings thing. Let me read a couple of comments and then we'll get there. Jim says, Abigail hung clothes to dry in one of the rooms still under construction. Wicked Sykes says, I used to visit Abigail Adams' perennial garden that eventually was moved, but still exists. Of course, it was burned in 1814 and needed to be rebuilt. So yeah, the White House that exists now is actually not the White House that the Adams lived in. Thank you for that reminder.
So the entire East Wing has been demolished. That is just hilarious to me. I don't really have, it's built by FDR, so I don't have any heartstrings attached to it. I'll tell you that.
So Mark, says that they put out a list of donors yesterday, aside from Trump there. Stuart the Brit says, "Miladies, I've been on this channel for 9 years. You seem to get more hate every week. If Trump wants to do something and pays for it, who cares? None of us are ever going to." Oh, and then Gina says, "None of us are ever going to see this ballroom. It's taking up too much money and time and space." And Stuart the Brit says, "Who cares what he pays for?" I think you're misunderstanding.
I don't care if he pays for something. This is like a national landmark, like we all
Which is funny because you live in the UK and you get it, like you should get it, at least most of you Brits get it. Like you hold these places
in kind of
like sacred.
Yeah.
And so essentially he's taking a place that's sacred and taking a bulldozer to it to put up something that is gigantic and going to overshadow the White House because it's so much bigger than it. And it just DC, you've never been there. I have. It is a very congested place already. There's not a lot of space right there. At the White House, there's not a lot of room. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they're going to be putting a ballroom there that is that size, that's what we're talking. I don't think that that's hateful at all. I started off by saying, I don't have a problem. You might not have been here for this. I don't actually have a problem with Trump doing a ballroom. I have a problem with where he's putting it. That's it. And then Herbert says, what is Trump really building? That's a very good question. I think it's a ballroom. We've seen all the pictures. I think he wants it to be awesome. I think he wants it to be, something that rivals what they have in Europe and around the world, not just Europe, in the Middle East, around the world. Go to Saudi Arabia. It's
gonna be golden.
We're never going to be able to contend with that. And I'm going to add this last little bit. This is just Michelle's opinion. Even though he's gilding everything, unfortunately, the construction that we do here in America, even if you try to do the best of the best today isn't anywhere close to the best of the best 100 years ago in America, where things were made out of like trees that had been alive for a very long time. So their ring growth was incredibly dense. So the wood had like structure to it. Whereas now anything that's going to be built in America, it might look good on the outside, but it's going to be like chintzy on the inside. And anybody that's coming in to look at this stuff from another country is going to know.
All right. So, you guys can put your thoughts in on it. We're going to be talking about this for a while because it's just now They just took out the whole East Wing. Bye-bye. It wasn't that great anyway, so I don't really have a problem with that. But like this giant ballroom overshadowing the White House is it's a bit much for me. But this is like real news to me. I mean, that is real news because like that's gonna be there forever. But okay. I'm on the ballroom thing.
Here it comes.
If you're gonna have that much space, I feel like it's a waste of space. Like it could be something else besides just like just one big room, like just for dinners. Like it could be something else.
I had that same thought. I'm like, dude, it's a ballroom.
Like what else could you do there? Like I'm thinking, I don't know.
Like how often is it going to be used?
That's what I'm thinking too, right? It just feels like a waste of giant space. Like way too big. It's way too big. You don't need it. Like how many people are going to fit in there?
Somebody left a comment. Does this mean we all get to go to the presidential balls now?
Yep, I think so big. It will fit all of us. It will. All right. Tulsi Gabbard. This should be making more news headlines than it is. Has created a national intelligence fusion cell at the ODNI and was able to help Mexico law enforcement catch a baby trafficker named La Diabla, who was kidnapping. Get this. This is beyond the pale. Like, forget the ballroom. Forget it. Okay. Forget it. Listen, this woman was kidnapping pregnant women, cutting them open, harvesting organs, and selling newborn babies. So the pregnant women, she's taking their organs and then she's selling the babies.
Which means that the women aren't alive. If they're taking the organs from the women.
I don't even know how organs are gone. Her whole money-making operation was centered on luring pregnant women, performing illegal C-sections, harvesting organs, and like, I don't understand how this isn't like a thing. Like, Google it. It's not very Googleable. Play Tulsi, please. Like, this is crazy. Crazy.
Mr. President, under your leadership, for the first time, there is a newly created National Intelligence Fusion Cell at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, National Counterterrorism, that has a very simple purpose: to make sure that we have two-way intelligence sharing of actionable information between the intelligence community and law enforcement. And I'll say the last example I'll share is probably the most insidious, was providing intelligence to the Mexican law enforcement that led to the arrest of a CJNG cartel-affiliated baby trafficker called La Diabla. Her whole money-making operation was centered around luring pregnant women, performing illegal C-sections, harvesting organs, and selling newborn babies. Mr. President, it's your leadership that has made all of this possible. Mr. President, under your leadership, for the first time, there is a newly created National Intelligence...
Okay. If you would go to our YouTube, I'm going to play, nobody really has this. I cannot believe this is not like national news. What? Nobody was talking about this stuff. That's all I can think of, right? Like, this is real news besides like everything else. $14,000 a baby.
In a shocking revelation out of Mexico, authorities have arrested Martha Alicia Mendez Aguilar, known as La Diabla, a high-ranking member of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. The 2nd of September operation in Ciudad Juarez, carried out jointly by Mexican federal police and U.S. agencies, uncovered a horrifying criminal enterprise: the trafficking of newborns and harvesting of mothers' organs. La Diabla is accused of luring impoverished pregnant women to remote locations under false pretenses, performing illegal cesarean procedures, often fatally, and selling the newborns to U.S. couples for up to $250,000 pesos.
Oh my gosh.
Roughly $14,000 each.
Who's buying these babies?
The organs of the deceased mothers were reportedly harvested, highlighting the extreme brutality of the cartel's operations. U.S. intelligence, including the FBI and National Counterterrorism Center, provided key information that led to her arrest.
What?
This case illustrates how the Jalisco New Generation Cartel has expanded beyond drug trafficking into terroristic criminal enterprises.
Come on.
Targeting vulnerable populations for profit and instilling widespread fear. The Jalisco New Generation Cartel was classified as a foreign terrorist organization by the U.S. in early 2025. This designation allows broader authority for intelligence sharing, sanctions, and cross-border operations. La Diabla's case is a stark example of how cartels diversify revenue streams and employ
revenue streams. That's what they're calling
Authorities
baby
continue
harvesting.
to investigate the network to identify additional participants and victims, aiming to ensure legal action reaches all those involved. Mendez Aguilar is expected to face extradition to the United States to answer federal charges. Officials hope her arrest will dismantle the baby trafficking and organ harvesting network and send a warning to criminal organizations exploiting vulnerable communities.
Not only is the UN not solving the problems it should, too often, it's actually creating new problems for us to solve. The best example is the #1 political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled. Your countries are being ruined. The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders. In 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journeying into the United States. Think of that. The UN is supporting people that are illegally coming into the United States, and then we have to get them out. The UN also provided food, shelter, transportation, and debit cards to illegal aliens. Can you believe that? On the way to infiltrate our southern border. Millions of people came through that southern border. Just a year ago, millions and millions of people were pouring in, 25 million altogether over the 4 years of the incompetent Biden administration. And now we have it stopped, totally stopped. In fact, they're not even coming anymore because they know they can't get through.
Yeah, but you guys are not sending them all back.
What took place is totally unacceptable. We have reassured just absolutely none of sovereign nations.
Are we just going to keep going through this?
Okay,
that's it. Okay.
And that's what they did.
Okay, stop that. Okay, go back to Diabla. Okay, this is the drug cartels. These drug cartel people are they have no conscience. They are terrorists. And the Biden administration and the left are funneling through the cartels. I don't care if some of them are good people coming over, okay? You all have to go through the cartels, through this line of demons. And my goodness, who would murder for $14,000?
I think about that too.
You're not even like $14,000. You're gonna murder somebody? Like,
so what I would say to that is what's so grotesque about it is that then you have to have, in order to be making a massive profit, you have to be doing this en masse.
Where are the organs going to?
Right.
Because I need to know where you can just be like, I have a heart here. Do you want to pay me for it? Because they're only they're not going to like California Regional Hospital and being like, hey, I just randomly have a heart for you and I want to give it to you, because you're not allowed to pay for organs. You know that, right?
Right.
So
we're not China.
What setup is set up to where you're like some sort of monster? Like, where's the market?
Yeah. So,
because you got these organs have to be packed on ice. They have to be done quickly.
So I watched a movie last night that involved organ harvesting.
These people?
But the legit. Excuse me, I can speak. The legit kind, meaning you are on a list and you need a heart, and unfortunately, the only way to get a heart is someone has to die.
Yeah,
and it has to get there so quick. Like, you see the people running through the airport and it's got like a, on ice organ, that's real. That is a real thing. So here's my question. What kind of off the books list has been created out of South America that can get this organ on a plane and fly it to any place within reason?
And who are the people taking the organs? And
I think it has to be America. This is my thought process.
Who are the doctors doing these surgeries?
Right. Well, they are probably off the books doctors. But how do people find out about them? That's my question.
How do you make
it's not the WHO.
Doc?
It's not the WHO is doing it. I think you can find a ton of people to do it. Disenfranchised doctors that have been sued, that have had their medical license revoked, like all of those types of people.
I don't think organ transplant is just something that any doctor can do.
No, I bet there are a lot of doctors that would probably be able and capable and
it's pretty specialized
desperate enough to do this. I don't think so. But my question is, how do you create? So like most people that need an organ transplant, don't have friends with the that are connected to the cartel, right? So you need an organ transplant. And then who comes to you and says, I can get you on this other list. I can get you on this off list. Like, are there like people that need an organ lobbyists? I don't know what the right word is. Like people that go and like try to approach people that need an organ transplant and be like, I know a guy. Are there people? What I'm saying is, it seems to me that like you almost would need to be seeking these people out. Trying to find people that need an organ instead of the other way around. You and I are thinking you need an organ transplant, so you're going to be desperate enough to go through some sort of really ridiculous back channel thing, whereas it's probably presented to you at first like it's a legitimate thing. You know,
I know you got to have I don't know where the black market is for these things. I mean, China's the only place that I would know.
But see, I can't imagine it getting from Mexico and China to China in time. I could be totally wrong about that, but that's a long flight.
I guess.
So our friend Audrey just went to Uganda, and she's there right now. She's speaking about Alfred Kinsey, and it's so many doors are opening for her right now. Just please pray for her. She's with the Matthew 18 group. We have interviewed her on our show twice now, and her flight took how many? It was almost like a 24-hour flight.
It was a long
like
time.
Crazy. So I'm just saying, I don't know what you guys think about where they're finding buyers for these organs. I think that's the question. The best way to state the question that Lee and I are trying to pose here. Stuart the Brit says organ transplant is a multi-billion-dollar industry, easier money than drugs. Look at McDonald's, millions of burgers. There isn't that amount of cows in the world. Where are they? What are they feeding people?
You need a facility. You need like a doctor to do it. You need a list. Okay. So Donald Trump has decided that when people are bringing in drugs, they're not even going to declare war. They're just going to be like,
we're just going to shoot them.
They're just going to be like dead.
They're going to shoot them. Or they're going to kill them. Excuse me.
We're going to kill them. They're just going to be like dead.
Okay, I gotta grab this. I saw this. A lot of stuff that Leah brings up, I don't see ahead of time. This one, I unfortunately
they're just gonna be like dead.
So let's contrast what we're about to hear Trump say with everybody saying we want America to have a certain look. This is not the look. I'm just gonna throw that out there. This is not the look. It definitely, it may have a little bit of power behind it. It may give that feel of power that Trump's looking for, but as far as the kind of look, this may not be it.
And briefed them on the operations.
No, we will go. I said.
You will go, and
we
it would
will
be
go.
difficult for them to object.
I don't see any loss in going. No reason not to. You know, they'll always complain. Oh, we should have gone. So we're going to definitely. I'd like to just tell you, let's go. We'll go. We're going to tell them what we're going to do, and I think they're going to probably like it, except for the radical left lunatics.
And Mr. President, if you are declaring war against these cartels and Congress is likely to approve of that process, why not just ask for a declaration of war?
Well, I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay? We're going to kill them. You know, they're going to be like dead. Okay.
And briefed them.
We're playing it again.
My gosh!
We're playing it again.
Well, I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay? We're going to kill them. You know, they're going to be like dead. Okay.
And briefed them.
So, you know, this is a high contrast to all of these drug addicts out there who want pot legalized. And then they're like, yeah, just kill. Listen, if you're coming over our border with a bunch of drugs, I believe that's an act of war. I believe that that's a terrorist act. We're just going to kill them. They're just going to be like dead. Well, okay. Well, what about people traffickers? Because I feel like that's just as bad.
Right.
Are we just going to kill them? They'll just be like dead. So I just don't know where you draw the line on the we're just going to kill them. They're just going to be like dead.
Jim says he's Mafia Don. He's the Godfather. Kimberly says no due process. So I would.
Do you have to like make sure they actually have the drugs?
Right. So there's my question. All right. I just want to put.
There's no love here for drug addicts.
Hang on.
Like, or drug dealers.
So let's break this down, if I may. The question that was posed here is, are you going to declare a war? Trump says, no, we're not going to declare a war. Do you know why? Because there's something called the Geneva Convention. So in the Geneva Convention, once you have somebody in your, like you've taken them captive, you then cannot
kill them. Right.
Okay.
So we're not going to declare war so that we can just kill them.
So there, as stupid as that statement sounded, I think there was actually, I think Trump just let in on a little something that maybe we weren't supposed to do that. Like we weren't supposed to know, well, we can't really declare war because then if we declare war, then we can't kill them right on the spot. So that's, I find that statement disturbing because in El Salvador, Bukele did not do that Trump's talking about. Mm-hmm. Bukele built gigantic prisons and put these men to work. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I know exactly what should be done per se. I'm saying that according to modern Western civilization, that is not what we are allowed to do. That's not the way that it's done. Now, if you have 100% intel that they are bringing these drugs across the border, and that's a danger thing, I'm not necessarily saying that you need to apprehend them. But the way that Trump stated that was not necessarily this, like, we're going to make sure, like, from afar, we're taking them out. There was nothing. They're just going to be like dead. We're just going to kill them. There were no details. I would like more details, Trump. Please tell me exactly what you're talking about, how you are going to, no pun intended, execute this, because it does a little bit sound like just an execution.
So I am now disturbed, and I don't want to travel on the highway at all. There keeps being like these Indian drivers that are just like massacring people on the road. Turns out that California has allowed 62,000 CDL licenses to illegal immigrants from all over. And a dramatic video surfaced on Twitter showing what appears to be an attempted ramming attack by a deranged driver in a U-Haul truck at a military checkpoint at Coast Guard Base Alameda in California. It's this video here from KPIX photojournalists shows a U-Haul driver backing up toward a line of officers. You can play it if you want. Outside the U.S. Coast Guard base Alameda before officers opened fire. So wait, but a U-Haul is, you don't have to have a CDL to drive a U-Haul. No, I'm just talking about random ICE people and immigrants. So, that wasn't going to go as planned. Uh-oh. So what's the plan here?
So it looks like they have a white mask on or something.
Says the Coast Guard spokesperson said that the U-Haul truck was driving erratically and attempted to back into the Coast Guard base. The officer at the entrance discharged several rounds of live fire after the masked driver ignored multiple verbal commands to stop. When the vehicle's actions pose a direct threat to safety of the Coast Guard and security personnel, law enforcement officers discharged several rounds of fire. Earlier,
yeah, but then why was it just now allowed to drive off?
I don't know. Anti-ICE agitators blocked the entrance to the base. This appears to be the next staging area of protest by the Democrat Party's activist network, targeting what seems to be the next major federal deportation operation of criminal illegal aliens. If you scroll down, it says some highlights from the ground as we monitor the protest and action outside the Almeida Coast Guard Island, where they housed U.S. Customs and Border Patrol and ICE agents inside. In the afternoon, California Highway Patrol showed up with heavy riot gear. Protesters and vehicles blocked the entrance to the Coast Guard base Almeida shortly after a caravan of U.S. Customs and Border Patrol our border protection personnel arrived on Thursday. The CHP called unlawful assembly and moved to disperse the crowds this afternoon. These are some powerful photos here. And so they want ICE to not be here. And
so I still need to know what happened to that U-Haul vehicle that looked like it was just allowed to drive off after they unloaded
I know.
20 rounds on it.
Very, very good question.
That's so weird.
Very good question. Well, from the Gateway Pundit, Pete Hegseth responds to a leaked memo on nationwide National Guard response force establishment by April 2026, confirmed the administration ready to mobilize National Guard when necessary. So this was a very interesting, I don't know if this is at the right timestamp or not. But there is a memo that's gone out. Yeah, that you can play that the National Guard is being made ready for whatever protests might be.
Mine is not playing for whatever reason.
Oh, really?
You can try and refresh the page, but it's not.
So Hegseth shared details of the Department of War's contribution to destroying the cartel influence in the United States. The National Guard response forces are nothing new, but they're seeing units to be trained in crowd control, civil disturbance, and
It won't play.
It won't play. Okay, I'll have to find it another place.
I would like to read some comments though before we move on to the next subject here. Over on Rumble, Wicked Psych says, "Is that real statements?" Yep, he really made those statements. Nana says they didn't use due process when they illegally entered the country. So that would be a valid statement if we handled anybody doing anything illegal, because anytime you do anything illegal, you're not following due process with just killing people. That's just not how we handle. So you can't, I get what you're saying. And I'm not saying that the heart of what you're saying is wrong, but that's just not how we handle. We don't just say, oh, you didn't use due process, so now we don't, boom. Like that's not how that works. You do something illegal, you get arrested in the United States. That's what we do. We don't just kill people unless they are, again, like that truck backing up, trying to kill you. Okay. Let's see. Nana says the babies are used for cosmetics and lotions, anything that contains collagen. Wicked Psych says my state caught bribes in exchange for CDLs years ago. As far as I know, it wasn't specific to who got them from. Who got them other than companies and people that gave the bribes or that took the bribes. We don't know who received them and what companies were behind them. Tag says maxim of law, laws are silent amidst arms.
Okay, so is Trump the greatest president in like all history?
Leah, you're asking the wrong person.
Because Trump is like, well, actually, Lincoln and Washington didn't end 8 wars like I did, so maybe I am the best.
No, he didn't.
You know, you got to hand it to somebody who has that much confidence. If I had just a lick of that much confidence.
Is there a clip of this?
Oh, yeah.
No.
George Washington all the way to, well, I think we have to rate him above me. So he's less than great, less than George. Somebody went up there, they say, you're the third best president in the United States. This was on television, third best. And they said, who are the first two? George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. And I got extremely angry at this man. You know, you can't. It's going to be tough to beat, Mr. Senator. It's going to be, John. It's going to be very tough to beat Washington and Lincoln. But we're going to give it a try, right? Hey, they didn't put out 8 wars, 9 coming. All right, we put out 8 wars, and the 9th is coming. Believe it or not.
Leah.
The great George Washington.
Leah. Okay. I'm triggered. I am triggered. I am triggered. Stuart, you know what I'm going to do here. Stuart telling me that I'm getting more hateful towards this man. And you're like, oh, well, you know, the West Wing isn't that big of a deal. Okay, the West Wing ain't a big deal. Fine. You can have it. I don't care.
East Wing.
East Wing, whichever wing, I don't care about your wings. Fly away. Don't you mess with George Washington and Abraham Lincoln and then come up in here like you the president and then say, oh, we're going to try to beat out Washington and Lincoln for being the best president. And oh, by the way, they didn't do what I did. You can't be a nationalist. You can't be patriotic if you, no. The humility. You don't mess with it. What you do is you say, I am honored to even be considered to be anywhere close to those guys because no one can touch them.
I missed the quote where it says, we took over a building that was not properly taken care of. We put in stone that matches the White House so it keeps you cool even in the summer. That used to be a swimming pool. Now it's a media room. We did that. That's what he's saying is makes him better than Lincoln.
Leah?
Because they put in stone that keeps you cool in the summer.
Leah?
So Lincoln...
No. They got rid of the swimming pool and put in a media room.
And they put in stone that matches the White House that keeps you cool in the summer. Boom. Greatest president ever.
Stop it.
Listen, Lincoln presided over the worst time in our country, truly. The Civil War saw brothers killing each other and fathers killing their sons. This is unthinkable. Lincoln stopped the slavery. He stopped slavery. He is legit like Trump. You don't need to
When we say, I cut you off. I'm so sorry. When we say that this man is a narcissist and you all say you guys are just extremists, you're comparing yourself to Lincoln and trying to beat him out? Is that a joke? And you know what? I'm going to get serious for a second. Trump, if you want to come anywhere close to Lincoln
or Washington,
you will end abortion.
Oh, come on.
That's it. Full stop. That's your only chance.
That's your
only pathway through, man.
Yeah.
All right. You want your pathway to 2, whatever it was that we needed to get. This is your pathway.
Yeah.
This is your pathway. The only way you will get close
is worse than slavery.
The only way you will get close is if you end abortion. Full stop.
You don't get to say that you're better than Lincoln because Lincoln saw the human value of each human, the unhumanized humans, which were black people. He saw
the voice of the voiceless.
And you, my friend, Donald Trump, have said that what they've done in Florida, having a 6-week abortion ban was too far. So you, Trump, would probably say, ending slavery, that's just too much.
Well, and I think that's why he thinks he can compare himself to Lincoln, because he doesn't think that ending slavery was probably that big of a deal.
It was a very big deal, and people died. A lot of people died. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. All right, so is Candace Owens crazy?
Yes.
I think she is a little bit, but this particular clip, I actually agree with her on. The people on the right are going after her because they say that she's implying that Trump had Charlie Cook killed. She's not. We're going to play that clip too. All right, so here's Candace here. I think she is actually correct on the hybrid drones bringing in the demonic AI. And I think she's right. And she's broken clock and all that. She's right here.
Okay, but her saying what she says is, in my humble opinion, it strikes of she's on the crazy gravy train.
She is.
Like, the way she says, like, if I stabbed him, it, like, you can see the crazy in the eyes. Mm-hmm. So I'm not.
Yeah, no, she's a little bit crazy.
She's talking about demons. I'm like, Candace, you got him, honey.
Mm-hmm, that's true.
I have always sensed this demonic because I'm telling you, I don't even think these people are human. Like, I look at Elon Musk and Sam Altman and Peter Thiel, and I'm pretty sure they're hybrid. You know what I mean? Like, they just look like an Apple software that I should be able to download at night, like when my phone's getting an update or something. It's something in the eyes. Like, I don't know. I'm like, I know I'm human, but I don't know if I stabbed you if you bleed, you know? I'm not going to stab them, but I don't know if they bleed all the way. I think a battery would fall out. You know what I mean? And I just get that sense. I've always known it was demonic. And people just get on board because, as we talked about in this book, they are using science and this idea of technology and this idea of transforming society for the better to indoctrinate us into accepting this. And it's wrong and it's backwards. And the main component of all of this is psychology, right? They're able to do it because of psychology, making you think that society has gotten better. Our kids have objectively gotten dumber. We've become fatter. We've become less healthy. We've become less emotionally sound. And yet they are convincing us that this is like humanity's great leap forward. We put a man on the moon, and he just like called them up and was like, hey, Prez, what's up? I'm up here. Yeah, it's so cool. It's really great. It's nice. Starry night up here. Cam and a text, I gotta go by in 69. And they get these people, they tell you like, he's a genius. They're all writing like he's a genius. So we should just accept that Elon Musk is a genius, because like all the writers who are obviously indoctrinated into the occult are telling us that this is the next person that we should worship. The establishment of Hollywood, it was all occults. They were all Aleister Crowley proteges who were just raping kids and summoning demons, and demons are real. So at the same time that they're summoning demons, they are making us all believe that faith is not real. And that has been, I think, the greatest trick that the devil ever played, right? Is making people think that he didn't exist, and making people atheist, making people believe that there's nothing, like you're here for a moment in time, because then it allows them to further tether us to their reality and to their God, which is money, right? Well, if you truly knew and believed, like I do, I actually know that this is not it. Like I know this is not it. But if you truly believed that, you wouldn't sell your soul. People think that that's just like an expression. Oh, he sold his soul. No, you are literally selling your soul. Like when you tell lies and you go down a path of lying because you're so afraid of not having the security of a paycheck, or you're willing to do something terrible to maintain that job, or keeping your mouth shut to maintain that job. We're seeing it right now with the Charlie Kirk case, right? You're selling your soul. Like there's a life after this. They have made you pledge your allegiance to their dollar because they know life is going on. They know that. They want you to literally sell them your soul. That's my personal belief. It's why I am religious. It's why I speak about, my faith openly, because I just know if this is not it. And I just know these people are demons. Like, I don't know. They just like, look at the way they breathe. Like, you know what I mean? Same thing. I look at Sam Altman. I'm like, look, I don't know. But I know that's not because I droid, obviously.
I am going to say I saw the same thing like with Mark Zuckerberg, and he went through like some sort of he went through the humanized phase. And so upgrade. He went through the humanized upgrade of AI, and he started doing kickboxing and taking, testosterone and things like that. He's still a droid in my opinion. And I do think that there's something there with Elon Musk and Sam Altman and Peter Thiel.
But it's not even far-fetching, because they talk about this is what they want. This is where they're... I cut you off. I told you a punchline.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Okay, say it.
So Peter Thiel is on record. He's constantly saying, we want to transhumanize everyone.
Right.
And that...
And immortalize.
Cutting off body parts isn't enough. We want to trans your whole body.
Yeah.
And...
So you can live forever.
Yeah, and Elon Musk says the same thing.
Right.
Like he says, I want you to be one with the machine. And, when it came to Mark Zuckerberg, he tried to get us all in the metaverse.
Mm-hmm.
And so we all are like, hey, this computer, this laptop, this cell phone, whatever, I think I can navigate this without losing my soul.
Mm.
But this soulless AI is gone too far, and it's a bridge too far. And how do we get back to the natural things? So I use the internet to get back to the natural things.
That's good.
And to teach others how to do it. Now, if you go over here to this clip, Lance Wallnau here represents a good, strong majority of conservatives who are tweeting this out and saying things like this. I told you she was under a spirit of delusion. Candace has made statements that she suspects Donald Trump and his administration were behind the assassination of Kirk. Owens, a former TPUSA affiliate who has feuded publicly with Kirk and the organization, has promoted multiple unhinged theories about his death. These include claims of involvement by Israel, Kirk's wife Erica, and his security team, and now the president. You're going to listen to this. Everybody tweeting this out is saying that she is implying that Trump had Kirk killed. She doesn't say that. She doesn't imply it. So why are they saying it?
The 27th, we'll be back on Monday. Full steam ahead. Just really needed to just take a breather and really process everything that happened with Charlie and what it kind of means in terms of where we are. And I think it is a circumstance where we just know. We just know that he was truly betrayed in one of the most egregious ways that I think I've ever seen. It has made me lose faith in politics. It has made me fully lose faith in Trump. And my heart aches for the fact that he gave so much of his life to Trump and to politics. And they just were like, nope, that is it. It serves us or it doesn't serve us, and we want to move on. And so here's a holiday. Bro, if they try to give me a holiday, what is with them giving people a holiday after they kill them? Why is that a thing? You know what I mean? Like, oh, Martin Luther King, what about this holiday? What about this boulevard? Anyways, let me knock it off. Like, they're going to give Charlie Kirk a boulevard. They already did. They did in Israel. They gave him freaking boulevard. It's like, as soon as they give you a boulevard and a holiday, they definitely killed you. Okay, there's no question. They killed you. There's no way. That's like their signature thing. It's like that's what they do. It's the Fed signature. It's how they sign off after they murder you. So like holiday and a boulevard. And it's never on a nice side of town either. Like Charlie Kirk Boulevard is not going to be a nice side of town.
So I actually slightly disagree with Leah here. And I had not seen that clip. Leah told me about it, but I hadn't actually listened to it in her own words. I think she 100% is saying that the Trump administration...
Really? I don't think...
Oh, yeah, because the
Trump
way she
administration,
says...
but not Trump. I don't think Trump was in on trying... I don't think she's saying that Trump was in on trying to take him out.
Okay, but wait, Leah, let's follow what she says. She says, it has made me completely lose faith in Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is like us when we read the Bible. You have to take the whole thing that the person says in context when they're following it with sentences later. Okay. I guess the reason why I don't mind that she has said this is because while I can't say for sure one way or the other, I don't know who, they keep saying unalived, whatever, who wiped Charlie off of this planet. But I do believe that let me say this. I don't think at all that Trump, you guys, you know how much I do dislike Trump. I don't think that Trump has people killed. So I want to agree with Leah on that. Okay. But I don't necessarily think that Candace Owens thinks that Trump wouldn't have somebody killed. Or his administration, whichever. They're synonymous in some regards. Okay, so she's saying it's made me completely lose faith in Trump. At the very minimum, Trump has people around him. And I would not put it at all past the Trump administration to have taken Charlie Kirk out without Trump's knowledge. Okay, I really and truly, as much as I do not like Trump, I don't think that he's the type of person that orders somebody killed. I think I could say that pretty solidly.
So there's a community note. Candace Owens did not claim that Trump killed Charlie Kirk in the video. She expressed frustration over the political response to Kirk's death, not a direct accusation against Trump.
Right, exactly. But she's frustrated with the Trump administration, and she's frustrated with Trump.
So
and
Laura,
I think she almost
says, this is why I brought this up, because it was throughout all of Twitter.
Yeah.
Everybody was sharing it, saying like Laura Loomer, Candace Owens is now implying that President Trump murdered Charlie Kirk. That's not what she was. She was doing what I would do is I would say that I don't like Trump's response to Charlie Kirk dying.
Yeah.
I wish that he would look more into it. I don't think that he was as emotionally attached to Charlie as Charlie was to him. And I saw Charlie give his whole life to Trump, and I don't think Trump is honoring that. Okay.
Yeah.
And he died for Trump almost in a way because he put his the hatred didn't come because of what Charlie Kirk was saying. The hatred came because of Charlie Kirk's connection with Trump and his support of Trump.
That's so true.
And Trump was laughing and having a good old time the day after Charlie Kirk died, where if I were as close to that person, I would be a mess. And he doesn't have the ability to be a mess. He doesn't have ability to hurt or feel. Like, are you in there human? Okay? Like, other people were way more messed up over this killing of this friend. And I believe that when you look at the situation, you know, our deep state did have Martin Luther King Jr. killed, and our deep state did have JFK killed. And so
you can say Bobby too.
You know, and so when you look at Charlie Kirk and you look at a lot of the things surrounding it and a lot of the, like, I know that those text messages, whatever with those text messages, they weren't real. Pops, my old man.
I think, hang on, wait.
Shooter.
I know you're taking for granted that people know what you're talking about, but they don't.
So the text, I'm sorry if you guys are watching my show. I don't have that many people that keep
We're
coming on
not
Friday.
a soap opera that people tune into every single 3-hour episode.
I think they are.
Okay,
our
so
people
help
are.
the people that don't.
Tyler Robinson,
well, because even Wicked Psyched
shooter,
is here, and I love Wicked Psyched, and they're here all the time, does not understand, says we saw the video of him on the roof, running across the roof, climbing down off the roof, and the weapon belonged to the suspect's family. Are they fake? So clearly Wicked Psyched, who's here all the time, has no idea. So help people.
So Tyler Robinson is supposedly the shooter, okay? He supposedly was part of some sort of transgender cult group on Discord. But there were these text messages that were released by the FBI between him and his trans lover, supposedly. And I could bring them up. And when I read, go look them up and read them. They were not written.
They were fake. They were
by
100%
a 20-year-old male. He said he supposedly sent these text messages with line by line. I took a gun. I wrapped it in a towel. I got
every detail that we were, all of the questions
that you had
that we were asking within 48, 72 hours after the murder. Like we were all asking all these questions, and essentially the powers that be were giving us these answers, and we're all going, that doesn't really make any sense. So then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes up these text messages that literally before he had really even escaped, he took the time to text to his homosexual lover line by line the answer to every single question that we were asking.
So I'm going to read this to you again. So for a refresher. So this is Robinson with his boyfriend. I'm still okay, my love. I'm stuck in O-Rim for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm so sorry to involve you. The boyfriend, you weren't the one who did it, right? He goes, I am. I'm sorry. Confession. You don't confess over text message. Okay. Like not even schizophrenics. I thought they caught the person, says the roommate. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. How does he know all this?
How does he know that they interrogated someone? This was like right after it happened.
Right. I had planned to, how would he know they grabbed some crazy old dude either? He's on the roof, right? When this is happening. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out. But there's one vehicle lingering. Why? Why did I do it? Yeah. I had enough. Oh, here's the motive. And the confession. I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. What? If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. How long have you been planning this? A bit over a week, I believe. Who says I believe? I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do. You're 20 years old.
You don't see
no one says old man. Would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about Prince. I had to leave it in the bush where I changed outfits. Everybody wants to know, why did we see him in this outfit and another outfit? Oh, here's another reason. Because we changed outfits. Every single answer, everything question, didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find Prince. How the blank will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. You're going to tell him those details. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices all these other things that are really bad that he said on there. He says, judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. I think that was the $2,000 scope, smiley face.
So how did he do it? Did he have, he's got a very expensive scope, so that explains how he did it.
Delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. All of a sudden, the rifle's just missing. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it's very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. Since Trump got in office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. You are all I worry about, love.
Stop it.
I'm much more worried about you. Don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any, please ask for a lawyer and stay silent. So this sounds like Chat GPT
or a Fed.
But these, to me, cannot be real.
So anyway, back to your question about the roof, and we've covered this on the show, and I'm sorry you missed it, and that's okay. When he jumps off the roof, there is no gun. When he lands, there is no gun. And everybody wants to say that it was shoved down his pants. His pants would have ripped if there was a gun shoved down his pants. So supposedly he disassembled the gun and put it in his backpack. But then the gun gets reassembled, but the tools to disassemble the gun were left behind. Nothing about this and all of the quote unquote video footage makes sense. So I believe that he is 1000% a Lee Harvey Oswald. Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming Wicked Psyched. I'm taking it. No, he didn't throw it because there was the video footage. You can see that he didn't throw it. She's like, he could have thrown it. No, that you see the video footage. He doesn't get rid of the gun. Okay. He doesn't throw it down. It doesn't go with him, right? You're seeing him like he's there. There's no gun whatsoever. Mm-hmm. This is the big question. What they have told us is that he disassembled it and put it in his backpack. Okay.
And then he reassembles it later.
But when a lot of military people have looked at that gun and they say there is no way that even disassembled that gun would have fit in his backpack.
Why would he reassemble the gun right afterwards?
Exactly. None of this. And then wrap it in a towel and then toss it in a bush. Like it didn't happen. Okay. Like full stop. It did not happen this way. There's no way. And so Lee Harvey Oswald pegged as the shooter for JFK, but Lee Harvey Oswald didn't do it. Like, I'm assuming you know that. Like, I think everybody in the world knows that at this point. And everybody knows that our government did it with the mafia, with the mob. Mm-hmm. I think we're looking at the same exact thing. Mm-hmm. They did it before. They've done it again. Why would we even be surprised? Like, why is that a shocking thing? It's not that they would have a patsy like a Lee Harvey Oswald. And what I would like to know is, and I know this wasn't really part of tonight's show, but like, I want to know why we have not heard anything from this kid now that he's been apprehended and is in jail. There's no news being released. There's no statement. There's no testimony. There's nothing. All we know is that as of within, days of his arrest, he's not cooperating with the police.
But he tells this boyfriend that he's going to turn himself in.
But he tells the boyfriend he's going to turn himself in, but he did not turn himself in.
And he's not cooperating.
And he's not cooperating with the police. So what does he's not cooperating with the police even mean? And I'll be honest, knowing now what I know about what they did to the January 6th prisoners, once they have him, they know they can do anything to that brain and turn it into mush. I do not put it past these people at all. Do you know how many people that were in prison for January 6th committed suicide?
Several. I don't know, a couple.
There's nothing that they can't do to you once they have you. That's all.
All right. So we're going to switch our gears to talk about this showdown between the MAGA pro-Israel and the MAGA pro-America. And one of the guys who I have no idea how John Hagee is still alive, he is at this Christians United for Israel conference with Ted Cruz. And Ted Cruz and Tucker Carlson have been going head to head over this issue, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. And it's fire, and Trump's weighing in on it. It's a big deal.
The Bible proves that the Jewish people are the most unique people on the face of the earth. They are a chosen people. They are a covenant people. They are a cherished people. They are the apple of God's eye. The unchallengeable fact of the Bible is that Israel and the Jewish people are unique. Listen, Israel did not choose this uniqueness. God chose it for them. Listen to David's prayer in 1 Chronicles 17:20. It's one of the most powerful words in the scripture. O Lord, there is none like you, nor is there any God beside you. And who is like your people Israel? Listen, the one nation on the earth whom God went to redeem for himself as a people. Chosen and still cherished. Deuteronomy 7:6, for you, Israel, are a chosen people, a holy people to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be a people for himself. Listen to this next sentence. A special treasure above all the people on the face of the earth. That includes the United States of America.
I gotta rewind that.
Chosen you to be a people for himself. Listen to this next sentence. A special treasure above all the people on the face of the earth. That includes the United States of America.
Stop it. Stop it, you little tiny nincompoop. God is not a racist, you liar. You don't get to go and say, above all nations, God has chosen Israel. That Israel is the apple of his eye. They're so special. They're so cool. No, let me tell you something. Abraham was chosen by God, not because he was part of Israel, because he wasn't Israel, because his grandson was Israel, okay? He chose Abraham by faith. He chose Rahab by faith. He chose Ruth by faith. If you want to be a chosen people, you don't do homosexuality, you don't do abortion, you don't force vaccines, and you love God by faith. Now, guess what? 1 Peter 2, therefore, laying aside all malice and deceit and hypocrisy and envy and evil speaking as newborn babes, desire the pure milk of the word that you may grow thereby, if indeed you have tasted and see that the Lord is good. Coming to him as a living stone, rejected indeed of men, but chosen by God and precious, Jesus. You also, as living stones, are being built up a spiritual house, a holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God through Jesus Christ. Therefore, it is also contained in the scripture, behold, I lay Zion, a chief cornerstone, elect and precious, and he who believes on him will by no means be put to shame. Therefore, to you who believe, he is precious. But to those who are disobedient, the stone which the builders rejected, if you are in Israel and you are rejecting Jesus Christ, okay? He has become the chief cornerstone, and Jesus is a stumbling block to you and a rock of offense. They stumble, Israel, anybody who does not believe in Jesus, being disobedient to the word to which they were appointed to that. And I will preach that because that is the gospel, and that will preach. And if you want to preach something in Israel, Mr. John Hagee or Ted Cruz, you don't go in and say, you are special people, even if you're totally disobedient and you're rejecting Jesus Christ as your Messiah. You will say, Jesus has become a stone of stumbling to you, a rock of offense. They stumble, and you're stumbling, Israel, because if you are disobedient to the word to which you were appointed to make Jesus Christ your Savior. But you, believers in Christ, you are a chosen generation, not those who disbelieve in Christ. You are a royal priesthood. You are a holy nation. A nation. You are the apple of God's eye now. Anybody who believes in Christ, both Jew and Gentile, his own special people, that you may proclaim the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. People are called a chosen people by God so that they may proclaim that God is awesome, that God pulls you out of sin and pulls you into light. Those are God's chosen people, who were once not a people, but are now the people of God, who have not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. Anybody who calls upon the name of Jesus Christ is now, he says, the people of God. You know what he doesn't say? but Israel, all those Jews, they're just still going to be blessed, and they're still going to be the apple of his eye forever, never, 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 even if they just disobey Christ and don't want to have anything to do with Jesus. Beloved, I beg you as sojourners and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts that war against your soul, having your conduct honorable among the Gentiles, that when they speak evil against you as evildoers, they may, by your good works, which they observe, glorify God in his day of visitation. Let me explain this to you. There are not two chosen people. There are not two royal priesthoods. There are not two holy nations. There's one holy nation, Jew and Gentile, come in under Christ. So, Mr. Ted Cruz, weighing in on this false religion, comes in, swinging, batting hard. Where am I at? Oh, screen share right here. There we go.
But there is a danger that is very real, and we've talked about anti-Semitism. Listen,
You are anti-Semitic if you do not need to preach the gospel to these people. I would have stood on that stage and be like, listen, you're far away from Jesus, which means you're far away from God. He is the way, the truth, and the life. You have to go through the door of Jesus. You have to. I don't care about you if I don't tell you about Jesus.
A decade ago, anti-Semitism began rising on the left. And the Democrat Party...
You're making boogeyman.
And in the decade that followed, it has consumed the Democrat Party. I do not believe this is exaggeration to say there is a real and meaningful pro-Hamas contingent of the Democrat Party in Washington. And the remainder of the Democrats are terrified of the pro-Hamas contingent. We know that. But the danger that I want to highlight to you tonight is not anti-Semitism on the left.
Here it comes.
It is anti-Semitism on the right.
Here we go.
And I'm here to tell you in the last 6 months, I have seen anti-Semitism rising on the right in a way I have never seen it in my entire life. Listen,
why
Kufi
is that, Mr. Cruz?
The work that Kufi does is desperately, desperately needed. But I'm here to tell you, the church is asleep right now. If I pick up my phone and send out a tweet, if I say good morning, within minutes I will have hundreds of blatantly anti-Semitic responses. When Prime Minister Netanyahu was here a few months ago, I sat down with him for a couple of hours. I raised this issue with him. And his first reaction was, he said, well, that's Qatar, that's Iran, they're paying for it, it's AstroTurf. And I said, Mr. Prime Minister, yes, but no. Yes, Qatar and Iran are clearly paying for it, and there are bots, and they are putting real money behind it. But I am telling you, this is real, it is organic, these are real human beings, and it is spreading. In the last year, we had 3 prominent voices on the right publicly muse, gosh, maybe Hitler wasn't that bad a guy after all. Yes, he was. He was the embodiment of evil. And I asked Prime Minister Netanyahu, I said, imagine how different American political history would have been if Rush Limbaugh had been an anti-Semite instead of a philo-Semite. We would have a fundamentally different country if Rush Limbaugh had spent years spreading poison. I want to tell especially folks that are no longer teenagers or in your 20s, this poison of anti-Semitism on the right, it is spreading with young people. It is gaining traction. Part of it is philosophical. There's an isolationism. So they will argue, what business do we have supporting Israel? Why should America support Israel? It's their problem. Let them deal with it. And let me give you an answer as someone elected to represent 31 million Texans and fight every day for your jobs, your freedom, and your safety and security. The United States supports Israel not because we are helping out a down-on-his-luck neighbor. We're not engaged in a charity act. The United States supports Israel because it is unequivocally in the national security interest of the United States to support Israel.
Listen, I don't have a problem with supporting anything that's in my national security interest. But if that were the case, why does Israel have an AIPAC representative for every single congressman if it's just well known that it's in our national interest? And why is it that we need to support this country? And why is it that our president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, is playing both sides? This guy is playing both sides. And his sons are making deal with Qatar, and no one's calling it out. His sons... What?
You can say Qatar. For those of you that don't know what Qatar is, it's Qatar.
He just said Qatar.
I think that most people know Qatar.
Okay.
I can't believe anybody says Qatar.
He just did. Ted Cruz said. So Dinesh D'Souza he's paid by Israel too. And he says Trump delivers a massive blah, 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 to the anti-Israel right. This right here is mega, not the pro-Hamas, anti-Israel. We see daily here. Trump has no time for weirdos that would cut us from our natural allies and boost mullahs. Now, explain something to me, Dinesh. Why didn't you call out Trump for going to the Middle East and hanging out with Qatar and hanging out with Saudi Arabia and doing sword dances and orb things and having women fling their hair and having his son make a $5.5 billion deal with Qatar? I'm going to call out both sides. Is anybody else going to do that here? Because I'm going to call out both sides. I don't want the Middle East, and I don't want radical Islamists funding my government and making deals with people in my government, and I don't want Israel doing it either. I believe it's wrong on all sides, and Ukraine and anybody else. Numerous of our now great allies in the Middle East and areas surrounding the Middle East have explicitly and strongly with great enthusiasm informed me that they would welcome the opportunity at my request to go into Gaza with heavy force and straighten out Hamas. Hamas. If Hamas continues to act badly in violation to their agreement with us, the love and spirit for the Middle East has not been seen like this in 1,000 years. It is a beautiful thing to behold. I told these countries and Israel, not yet. There is still hope that Hamas will do the right thing. If they do not, in the end, Hamas will be fast, and the end to Hamas will be fast, furious, and brutal. I would like to thank all of those countries that called to help. Also, I would like to thank the great and powerful country of Indonesia and its wonderful leader for all of their help that they have shown and given to the Middle East and to the USA and to everyone. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So I just see this as very disingenuous on all sides, because for Israel to say, oh, they're just being paid by Qatar, but not saying that Donald Trump's sons just made a $5.5 billion deal with Qatar. Okay, what? What? They're making deals with Saudi Arabia. Okay. Everybody knows that Hamas is a terrorist organization, and nobody's going to do anything about it because you don't want to do anything about it. And you make me sit here and do a news report on you guys going back and forth over something that you guys enjoy doing. You enjoy going back and forth. It's fun to you. I don't know what's wrong with you. You're like sycophants. But Marjorie Taylor Greene and to, his credit, Tucker Carlson have had enough. And Lindsey Graham, did you know Lindsey Graham is truly gay? He is truly gay. He's not married. He's never been married. Dude's gay. And Donald Trump is out there campaigning for Lindsey Gay Graham.
Oh boy. Going
out there saying he's against Thomas Massie, and he's doing that because there are billionaire donors who are pro-Israel, Jewish people who are against Thomas Massie. I don't want to be the whole Jew conspiracy person. Like, I'm not, and I'm not going to be that person. But I am going to call it out because Thomas Massie needs to have that seat, and it is true that these are Jewish billionaires who are trying to unseat Thomas Massie because he won't take their AIPAC money and say, oh, Israel, okay? Now, I'm not going to be like, hey, yo, pro-Palestine, yay, yo, Hamas is awesome. I'm not going to do that either because they're terrorists. And Dinesh D'Souza going out there swearing out the wazoo in a tweet. You're not helping anything either. And so Tucker has Marjorie Taylor Greene to talk about this, and we're not going to play all of it, but we're going to play some of it.
And we're going to get to that in 1 second. I do want to do, and this is important to me, so bear with me for 1 second. We are streaming live to a new network that I love, Faith and Freedom TV. And
aren't we past the hour mark?
Well, no, we stream live. The whole show just streams live when we stream live. And so when we talked to Rick from Blessed to Teach, who's just amazing, we're going to get him on the show soon.
He's super pro-Israel.
And he is, but he also knows our stance that we take a very, what I believe is middle of the road walk on this. We're outside of what we call the anti-Israel mindworm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And we are certainly not pro-Hamas and pro-Palestine. And we call that out all the time as well.
And we have from the beginning of our show.
Right. And so I just want to do a shout out to those that are, if they're, are people that are new to Resistance Chicks watching on Faith and Freedom TV. We aren't, and this is what I love about Rick. He knows our stance and he's totally okay with us saying what we need to say on this network. We don't necessarily represent what Rick believes, obviously. But we certainly are not on what we call the anti-Israel mind worm,
where everything.
So I want to just explain that to anybody over there that's watching. And first of all, hello, I'm so glad that you're here watching. But second of all, like, this is what I go back to is like the Rothschilds funding both sides of World War I and World War II. I think that there are powers that be that have an interest in the division of both of these issues. That doesn't mean that Hamas and Palestine aren't very evil and have their own issues, and that the government of Israel isn't very evil and has its own issues. They do. But the interest in making this what it is and forcing people to choose a side. And Lee and I are stepping outside of it going, we are not going to choose it. We're not playing your game.
We will absolutely, if you had us walking down the street and there was a pro-Hamas side and a pro-Israel side, I'm over here on a pro-Israel side every day. Why? Because it's safe. Okay, because those people don't want to hurt me and hurt anybody. These pro-Hamas people, they're paid protesters, they're Antifa, they're violent, they have no idea why they're over there. And like when you see the pro-Israeli rallies in like Australia, like they're just regular old nice kind people. And so I will but here's the thing, don't make me choose ideology. Okay, don't make me look at the government of Israel, which is pro-abortion, pro-LGBT, pro-forcing people to be vaxxed.
And say be that like, God says we need to bless them.
Yo, yeah, that's awesome. Like, because you did it, and you know you did it, and you know you don't. So let's just not pretend. Okay.
It's the last scene in the novel, the famous George Orwell novel, the one less referred to than 1984, but in some ways a lot better. And there's this scene where the pigs and the men are playing cards at a
Animal
table.
Farm.
Now, for the course
you
of the novel,
need to read it to know
the pigs are leading the animals of the farm, in rebellion against the men, whose cruel and capricious and greedy leadership has kind of wrecked the farm, and they've risen up collectively to take back what's theirs.
It's a book about the Bolshevik Revolution. You should read it. You really should.
The means of production, and they're going to distribute the fruits equally, and everything is going to be fair and equitable, and things are going to be great. And the pigs naturally rise to the top of the hierarchy because they're the smartest, and following them are the kind of stalwart horses and the sweet-tempered, trusting cattle, et cetera, all the way on down the chain. And so it's left to the pigs to negotiate with the men, the former farm owners. And of course, they hate the men, right? They're the declared enemy of the men. And in the final scene, the other animals are sort of gathered outside the house, noses pressed against the glass, and the pigs are sitting basically partying with the men. And for a moment, they become indistinguishable. You can't tell the pig from the man. They've melded into one. In other words, the movement the pigs led has been completely corrupted and become the mirror image of what it purported to be. Now, the reason this, of course, was describing the Soviet leadership, which overthrew an aristocracy only to install its own even more tyrannical version, genocidal version. But it really describes almost all human organizations, which, unless you're careful and thoughtful and get into the consistent habit of restating your principles out loud, most human organizations wind up resembling, just organically over time, whatever force they were created to fight against. They become inversions of themselves, mirror images of what they were intended to be. This is just the way things are. It certainly happened to the Democratic Party, by the way, in our lifetimes. I mean, 40 years ago, the Democratic Party was the party of what? Peace and human rights and against big business. And since the Clinton years, of course, it has been the opposite of those things. The Democratic Party has been the defender of oligarchy and the main driver of war. And of course, the sort of great proponents of censorship and the opponent of human rights. My body, my choice, they say, as they force you to take the COVID vax. And this has been noted quite a bit. There was a pretty good book written about it several years ago, I would say, called Ship of Fools. Sorry. But this can happen not just to the Democratic Party and the Communist Party, the Bolshevik Party of 1917. It could happen to really any party, including the Republican Party, including the party of MAGA. It hasn't happened necessarily, but there are people who would like it to happen. And so without attacking them personally, and with the sincere belief that they're acting out of their own interests and their own beliefs and trying to subvert a movement that they did not create and nothing to do with. But they're doing it for reasons that they think are valid, with taking out the possibility that they're just evil, trying to destroy something, giving them every benefit of every doubt. There are some pretty highly aggressive people in Washington, D.C., who are trying to turn the MAGA movement into the opposite of what it was created to be, the opposite of what voters hoped it would be when they voted for it, what tens of millions of Americans believed it was. And so before that happens completely, and before we forget what MAGA once was, it's probably worth stating in very clear terms what it is. What is MAGA? Well, MAGA, of course, means Make America Great Again. It's an acronym, but what does that mean exactly? We don't have to guess, because Donald Trump, for 10 years, 10 full years, 2015 to 2025, has been articulating again and again and again, a remarkable level of repetition, actually, 5 consistent themes about what this is. What is MAGA? So let's go through and name and explain the 5 pillars of MAGA. It's not exactly the Bill of Rights, but in political terms, it's meaningful. These are the founding principles of the governing political coalition that runs the United States right now. And they are too rarely articulated. So let's do that. Let's start with number 1. What is the first pillar of MAGA? Well, of course, it's America First. Here's Donald Trump, before he got the nomination for president, and I think in the spring of 2016, explaining what America First means. Here he is.
My foreign policy will always put the interests of the American people and American security above all else. Has to be first. Has to be. That will be the foundation of every single decision that I will make. America First will be the major and overriding theme of my administration.
April 27th, 2016. At the time, Donald Trump had been elected to nothing. He'd not even officially secured the nomination. Ted Cruz was still running against him until the Indiana primary the next month. He was still just a candidate, totally unproven. But the central theme of the next 10 years of his political life and of the country's political life is right there in that clip, America First. The purpose and duty of the American government is to represent the United States of America. Another way to put it would be the duty of the U.S. government is to make good on the core promise of democracy, which is that the country operates on behalf of its owners, the citizens of that country. It would seem very obvious. Of course, Trump was attacked for it immediately. He was called an anti-Semite. You may not remember this, but he was, because he used a phrase that Charles Lindbergh, who was, by the way, not an anti-Semite, but who did oppose American entry into World War II, along with tens of millions of other Americans, used very often. The America First movement was the American movement of the late 1930s, early 1940s, pushing the Roosevelt administration away from joining a war in Europe. It doesn't mean they were pro-Nazi. Many of them were very anti-Nazi, but they didn't think the United States had a role in that war, and they said it. And probably the most famous living American at the time, Charles Lindbergh, who in 1927 flew across the Atlantic Ocean solo, truly a hero, was the leader of this movement. And, whatever its benefits, doesn't work very well in the long run.
So I'm going to fast forward to his talking to...
Now, if Ted Cruz free speech, pushing the example, but if so many Republican politicians, they didn't want closed borders because their donors didn't want closed borders. Of course, they were all in on the war on terror, and they refused even to look backwards and assess whether or not what they had advocated for had succeeded. They were all in on the Iraq war, like I was. But the difference is they refused to admit that they were wrong. And millions of people died as a result of that, of their being wrong. And our treasury was emptied, and the U.S. dollar devalued completely to the point where gold is over 4,000 today. Why is that? Maybe because we spent like $6 trillion on the war on terror, got nothing out of it. We sent pallets of cash to warlords in various countries. What did we get out of that? Nothing. We armed the Taliban. What did we get out of that? Nothing. The whole thing was insane. If you can't say that was bad, if you can't say I'm sorry for supporting that, you're a deeply corrupt person. And Trump called them out, and they hated him for it. As to globalization, they benefited from it. Of course, they're tools of the fire and trains dogs. So we thought
Republicans hate Donald Trump, and the rest.
None of whom agree with a single word Trump says, and all of whom hate him. So we thought it'd be interesting to talk to her and ask, will it succeed? Will you be kicked out of the movement that you are a core part of? I don't know. Let's ask her. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia joins us now.
Hi, Tucker.
Congresswoman, thanks so much for doing this. So I keep reading that you are not representative of MAGA, and that's why I want to have this conversation, because I just want to get on tape before Wikipedia erases the past completely and we have no reference points, that you are not a latecomer to the Trump phenomenon, correct?
Oh no, I've been on the Trump train since 2015, back when I was just a regular person, didn't even have an idea about running for Congress. As a matter of fact, he laid out those 5 pillars, and I was listening to these clips of Donald Trump, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love that man. And those are all the reasons I supported him from the very beginning, when he stood on that stage among 17 Republican presidential candidates, and the rest of them I thought were slimy politicians. But Donald Trump spoke the language that I understood, and he was the one that made sense to me.
You know that Trump is really hated by your colleagues and by almost every single person in Washington. Not every single. There are people at the White House who sincerely love Trump. I know that to be true. But the overwhelming majority of Republicans in Washington secretly hate Trump, and they're too afraid of him to say so, but they hate him. Lindsey Graham, obviously. Ted Cruz really hates him. Mark Levin openly hates him. But they hate him because they don't agree. And you know that because in the last 10 years, there has been, other than you and Massey and a few others, there have been almost no elected officials in Washington to articulate what exactly MAGA is about. Have you noticed that?
That's absolutely correct. 1,000%. MAGA, let's take that acronym. There's only one country in MAGA, and it's America. And I can tell you right now, I want to expand on how much Republicans hate Donald Trump. I became a member of Congress in January of 2021. I had only been sworn in for 3 full days when January 6th happened. And I can tell you firsthand, every single Republican there in Congress literally turned their back on Donald Trump after January 6th. And he didn't even do it. He had nothing to do with what happened that day. He didn't cause it. It was, it was a Fedsurrection. Antifa was involved. And then many of these poor people got swept up and went into the Capitol. And it was myself, Matt Gaetz, and a few others. We were the only ones that stayed, said that he's our president. He's the leader of the Republican Party. The American people will not abandon him. I did not abandon him. As a matter of fact, I fought my own Republican colleagues for years, literally years, until he finally won the primary in 2024. That was when they literally begrudgingly started saying, okay, I support Donald Trump. He's our nominee. And they still hated him. They absolutely hated him. I can remember Mike Lawler coming up and saying, he hated Donald Trump openly, used to make fun of him all the time. And then all of a sudden, after Donald Trump won in 2024, he finally decided it was time to put on a MAGA hat. It just made me sick. But these people are so fake. The only reason that they kiss up to Donald Trump, our president, the only reason they kiss up to him is because they're terrified of a True Social post, because they're terrified of their own constituents that fully support a MAGA, that fully support America First, and fully support everything that Donald Trump has laid out now for years and years. And, Americans got to the point where electing Donald Trump was a referendum on the Republican Party. And I very much feel that, because many times I hate my own party and I blame Republicans for many of the problems that we have today. And I blame them for being so America last, to the point where they are literally slaves to all the big industries in Washington, the military industrial complex, big pharma, health insurance industries, you name it. They are literally slaves to them, and they love the foreign wars so much. But Donald Trump was a referendum to the Republican Party on behalf of the American people, the forgotten man and woman of America that were just so sick of
and
Washington.
So why do
DC.
they hate her? Hang on.
Or not. And these are the things this is why.
I don't think in this country, I don't think we've had any Americans killed by Iranians. We've had a lot of Americans killed by Haitians, a lot. And yet Haitians get special protected status, but we're bombing Iran. And I just felt like that would be the kind of America First way to think about it. Let's create a hierarchy of threats, and let's just start with the death toll. And no Americans have been killed on American soil by Iran, in my memory. So I'm not saying Iran is great. I'm not endorsing Iran, but I'm saying from an American perspective, that's not even in the top 25 list of threats to us. So all these Republicans I kind of expected to say, Mike Johnson is a completely corrupt person, but not Mike Johnson, but like people with souls in the legislative bodies, I expected someone to stand up and say that, and they all went along with it. And they cheered it. Like, what was that? They didn't mean anything, they said.
Exactly. What was that? I laughed so hard because I was like, Fox News and everyone tells me that Houthis are the most dangerous human beings on the planet. And I literally can't find a single Houthi in my district. I can't find them at Waffle House.
Well, can I just say, we are now, since we bombed the Houthis, consistent with American history over the past 70 years, we're going to import a lot of Houthis. Just if we've imported a ton of Afghans and Iraqis and, every country we bomb then gets to move here under some special protected status. We're gonna have full Houthi neighborhoods in North Georgia very soon. So get psyched for that.
Okay. Well, that'll be the first time we see him, and because I don't know what one looks like. I literally have no idea what a Houthi looks like. I've never been to Iran. I don't know why I have to hate them so much, but they've told me over and over again for 30 plus years that they're going to have a nuclear weapon any moment now, and they're going to bomb America and bomb Israel. Still hasn't happened. I was, another high. Home prices are ridiculously high. Cars are high. Auto insurance, home insurance, health insurance is insane. Energy prices are high. I can tell you that in my own electric bills, they're much more expensive than they were even a year ago. The Democrats destroyed our economy, absolutely murdered us with high inflation, and they're absolute failures for 4 years. But here now, it should be the focus. The biggest focus from Republicans in Washington, D.C. and the Trump administration, the people that get to have these jobs, Tucker, because people like me worked my ass off and spent millions of dollars fighting to get Donald Trump elected. Well, those people that get to have their hoity-toity jobs in the White House, they should be grateful to people like me, not and Mark Levin and all these other people. They shouldn't be putting me down. I helped put that man there because I never backed away from him, and I never backed down, and I believe in what he wants to do for this country. But what we have going on right now, I mean, seriously, look at it. It's a revolving door at the White House, a revolving door of foreign leaders and prime ministers and presidents, all with their hands out, demanding money and demanding attention and demanding America do this. I mean, let's take, for example, this $40 billion bailout for Argentina. That's probably one of the grossest things I've ever seen. And I have no idea who is telling our great president, our America First president, that this is a good idea. Because it's a punch in the gut to all of our American cattle ranchers, and they are furious, and rightfully so. And at the same time, I can't think of another country that's further away from the United States of America than Argentina. It's literally at the bottom of South America in the Southern Hemisphere, and we're all the way up here at the top. I don't know how that's America first. But the problem, Tucker, is it's Washington, D.C. is unchangeable, absolutely unchangeable. And they have hijacked our movement, and they're taking it away from the campaign promises of America First and turning it into everything that we hate. We hate globalism. We hate bailing out foreign countries. We hate foreign wars. We hate industries overseas. We want industries supported here at home. And you got people talking about it. People are not silent anymore.
Okay, so you can stop her. Thank you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, because if you could sum up our podcast, that would sum it up right there. We lost our income and our YouTube supporting Trump when nobody else did. So please, I don't want to hear anybody saying that I've abandoned Trump or I've turned mean on Trump, because I lost my stuff. I lost so much when nobody else would support this guy. We did. We were some of the only MAGA channels. And I don't know any other MAGA channel out there that has been more ridiculed and more put down and more like actually lost their voice than our channel. I don't know anybody else that had that we were constantly in the top search result. But because we supported Trump when nobody else did, and we brought to you guys all the pro-Trump stuff for 4 stinking Biden years, okay? I now have no Twitters, none whatsoever, okay? I lost the first one because I supported Trump and I supported the people on January 6th. And we supported and we were like, oh, Trump's my president. I put the sign out. I left my sign in my yard that Trump would be pro-life and blah, 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 blah. I was some of the only MAGA people in our neighborhood. I was so...
Our Stop the Steal sign that was out forever.
We were... Here's the thing. You know why? Because I didn't support a man and I'm not part of a cult, but I supported those things that Tucker laid out and that Marjorie Taylor Greene played out. And you know what? I would be a hypocrite to you and to myself if I abandoned those very core values just because Donald Trump has left them. That's called a cult. That's a cult. And I am not a cult follower in Jesus' name, by the power and the blood of Jesus, only by the grace of God. Okay, will I not be? And I try not to be. But you guys know, and if you haven't followed us, we lost our skin for this guy. We were the Matt Gaetz. We were the Marjorie Taylor Greenes. We were out there, Stop the Steal. Okay, I lost friends over supporting Donald Trump. So this is not a game to me. And what she was speaking about was that because Milei, who we like in Argentina, his country is suffering because he's trying to turn around a socialist country. He went to the United States and he has been praising Trump, and he's supposed to be the Donald Trump of Argentina. And he says, we're suffering as a country. We need help. So you and me and our people who are suffering too, we bailed them out for $40 billion. And Trump is allowing Argentina beef to come and to lower the prices of beef in America. And I don't have the clip up, but Trump is angry at cattle ranchers in America who operate on a very slim margin, saying you cattle ranchers need to lower the price. Did you know that our beef, and this goes to the Thomas Massey deal, where my heart is at, okay? Thomas Massey has this Prime Act, and all it would do would allow for small processors to process the beef, the cattle is there, and to sell farm to consumer. And farm to consumer would mean the cattle rancher makes more money and you spend less money. Michelle and I, we get half a cow. We get a whole cow. We spend probably about a little over $5 a pound for all the cuts. The cuts that cost you $1 bazillion, the sirloins, the T-bones, everything. Why? And you know what? That farmer makes more money from me than he does selling it to, when he would sell it to a meat packer. There are 4 main big ag meat guys. We need to trust bust them, just like with the pork, just like with the dairy. Okay, because some of these companies are not owned by small farmers. They're owned by Singapore or China or other countries. Okay? I don't know if it was Singapore or another nation, but somebody just posted that their country doesn't allow for charges like 30% tax rate or something like that on foreigners buying property in their country. I don't think any foreigners should have property in America. Now, Trump is touting this. Other countries are investing in our country. I don't want other countries building businesses here in America. I want Americans to build American businesses in America. And then we can begin to pray for other nations to do well as well. But these core beliefs, these MAGA beliefs, and I would say there's 6 because we were and we used to be a pro-life, by the way. And that should be actually number 1, because nothing matters unless you have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So if you don't support life or the least of these, you don't deserve anything else. And so I am Marjorie Taylor Greene. I am Tucker Carlson. I am not Mark Levin. I am not Lindsey Graham, and I am not Ted Cruz. And neither are you. Neither are you, because you're watching this show. But if you turn on Fox News, they will brainwash and mind worm your brain, just like CNN will, because there are big people making big money. And I don't want a big palace or a ballroom. And this goes to the front of the show, because I don't need to impress foreign nations. I don't need them to come here. In fact, I don't want them to come here, because unless I need something from them, don't come knocking on my door. You don't get to come to America and beg me for things. I got my own life to take care of. Put your own oxygen mask on first. And then we get to go to God individually and ask God what we should do individually to help people. And churches should be helping other nations if they need help with the gospel. But instead, it's like knocking on our door, handing out things like candy. I don't care. I don't want, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, there is a revolving door of dignitaries and important people. You know the difference between Abraham Lincoln and Donald Trump is Abraham Lincoln didn't need a ballroom for foreign leaders.
No, he accepted the everyday man in to
because
talk to him.
Abraham, thank you for the punchline, but that's great. I said Abraham Lincoln didn't need it okay. Because Abraham, the very special thing about Abraham Lincoln, you may not know this, is you were allowed to wait in line and go to the president of the United States, and he would hear from the people in line things that they needed help with. The average, everyday person. And that is why... Harry Beecher Stowe.
So you're the little lady that started the Great War.
You're the little lady that started the Great War. And so when I look at Donald Trump and when he's actually like listening to the little guy, then I go rah, rah, Trump. when he's bringing in the prince or princesses of Saudi Arabia, I say bad, bad, bad Trump, because we do not make deals with other nations like that. And America first. That's my politics. Go ahead. Commentary. Anything you want to say?
I don't have a lot to say other than I do want you guys, as much as, you know, I don't want Resistance Chicks to be kind of now like known as the podcast that's railing on Trump. We are.
Is Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Right. We are first and foremost God first. Okay. God, family, country. That's Resistance Chicks. God first. So our show, I hope that you guys receive it filtered that way, that the first thing you're going to get is God, family, and then country in order of importance. For me, the God angle in all of this is that as we've been covering for the past 7 to 10 months, the level of spiritual warfare has ramped up in the past year, I would say, specifically year or two in America to new heights. And there's a lot of amazing clips that Leah could play from this week, specifically from Glenn and Tucker's TPUSA speeches that are just phenomenal. And Tucker does one on abortion, essentially stating that going back historically, every people group has sacrificed humans, human sacrifices. And I'm so proud of him for stating that. And it's interesting to see Glenn and Tucker and these different types of people try to take a Charlie Kirk, because they'll never be Charlie, ever. They can't. Tucker is too arrogant. He laughs at people. And Glenn doesn't have the quick sharpness, even though he's brilliant. He likes to have things pre-planned out, and that's why he does his chalkboards. Like, he's brilliant when he can pre-plan out what he's going to say.
Yeah.
So his speech was brilliant. But we're looking at spiritual warfare because of the demons that we have been slowly letting in. And I would say that because originally when we all started to support Trump, there was a giant Jesus movement that went with it. And then just like anything else, the devil gets in there, and the devil got in mega and started to decouple the support of us with Trump going, we love Jesus and we love our country and we support Trump, to just, we love Trump. We support Trump. Yeah. And so it turned into a cult. And when we say that word, I don't say it lightly. When I say cult, I mean people opened up their hearts to the demonic and allowed evil spirits inside of themselves. Okay, so it's not even necessarily that I'm railing on Trump, because guess what? Trump did too. He opened up the door. And when I look at a Donald Trump now versus a Donald Trump of 2015, I see more demons in him. Like, that's just full stop. And so it's not so much that I'm angry at Trump. It's the evil that I'm seeing come out of him. It's, you shall know them by their fruit. And this man has less fruit of Jesus now, 10 years later, than he did in 2015. He is not listening to the everyday man. He's only listening to oligarchs, big nations, big countries, big money, big tech. He does not care what you and I think at all. And if any of us say anything contrary to Trump, you're like a pissant. He'll just squash you. Like, I can guarantee you, if Trump knew who we were, and he doesn't, but if he did, and he heard our podcast, oh, those are just the dumbest chicks on the face of the planet. They don't know anything. They never supported me. They were never behind me, when we lost everything for this guy. Okay. How do I know he would do that? Because he's done it to Marjorie Taylor Greene. He's done it to Thomas Massey when they supported him, and Rand Paul, when they supported him when no one else did. And they have huge names. Trump will squash you like a bug if you dare to say, hey, what about this? That is not somebody that is able to be reasoned with, somebody that you should respect. That's a mob boss. Here we're all going, no, we support you. And he's like, couldn't care less about you. You never supported me. You know, it's so the people that still follow him, and I see it in my friends that still love Trump and the posts that they make. If the enemy was doing the same things that Trump was doing, they would be against it. Mm-hmm. If Biden was tearing down the East and West Wing and building a giant ball, they would be up in arms. That's how you know it's a game. Mm-hmm. And I actually said this to Randall had made a post about baptism, questioning, and this is, I'm not going to get into that, but questioning, you know, what you think about baptism, if it's essential for salvation. Like, let's say you're like getting ready to be baptized and then you die. Like, do you go to heaven? That kind of thing. And I said this, I said, if you ever find a question like this that is confusing and you're not really sure, I said a bunch of other stuff in this, but this one part I want to analyze here. If you ever question a thing, invert the question. So if someone is baptized, does that mean that they are saved? So then that's the inversion of the question of, do you have to be baptized to be saved? And so that's why I want to look at this specific situation. If Biden were doing the things with Qatar, okay, if Hunter Biden was doing the things that the Trump boys were doing with Qatar, all of my friends who support Trump, you're not using your sound mind about the thing. You're just following your master. Trump says it's good, so I say it's good. You're not following your spirit man. You're not asking Jesus, okay? And you can't call him out. And so let's just reduce it to the lowest common denominator, and then I'll be done. This is spiritual warfare. We are fighting good against evil. Pray for Trump. I mean that genuinely, because he is the leader of our country. If he wasn't, I actually wouldn't be telling you to pray for him. I would say don't waste your time. But because he is the leader of our country, I would say definitely pray for Trump. And pray that he makes good decisions in spite of himself for our nation. And I will tell you that when he does make good decisions in spite of himself for our nation, Lee and I always call them out. We will do that. Because I think for myself. I don't care whether Trump's behind it or not. I'm either going to call a spade, or I'm not going to call a spade, or I'm always going to call a spade. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to say, oh, that's a heart. Oh, that's clubs. Oh, that's diamonds. Nope, it's a spade, and I'm calling it. Okay. When I look at what Donald Trump is doing, the spade that I see is that he is being led 100% by his flesh and by demons. So either spiritual warfare is real or it's not. And Trump has zero defense against demons. So if I'm telling you that we're teaching you guys in Healing for the Fractured Soul, and you know, a lot of times on even Revelation Red Pill and just different programs that we've done, and we're teaching you spiritual warfare, and we're talking about protecting yourself and getting demons out of your life and all this, and like open doors and keeping, doors closed. And we're showing you that we're getting people out of our lives that I think literally are like open doors. I'll be done with this. How much more Donald Trump, who literally doesn't even know if he's going to go to heaven or not, because he does not believe that Jesus Christ is necessary for salvation. And you think that for some reason, because you think he's God's Cyrus, that every decision that he makes is the right one, that is a cult. He has demons. He's being led by demons, and he's the leader of the country, which means that unfortunately right now there is a war for the country being led by demons versus the Holy Spirit. Full stop. And we and Mega have taken their hands off the wheel and just said, God's got Trump. I don't need to pray for him. I don't need to call him out. I don't need to do anything because God's in control. That's it. And it's the most irresponsible thing that I can see Christians do. And it is not going to lead where you want it to lead. The only thing that's going to change America is for each and every single one of us to take stock and start thinking for ourselves, listening to the Holy Spirit, praying in the Spirit, binding and gagging Satan, closing all open doors, getting the devil out of our lives and out of the past, and understanding that these people in Congress, these people in the Senate, Donald Trump, his administration, I'm going to say this and you're going to be upset. They are being led just as much by the devil as the Biden administration. They're just doing it with a different facade. It just looks a little bit different, but they are not putting God first. In fact, they're doing what all of these big mega preachers, and I mean that like as in MEGA, have done for years. They use the name of Jesus to get what they want. Whereas the other side, they just come at you with a pitchfork and horns and say, no, we really are on the side of the devil. Whereas the rest of these people are on the side of the devil using Jesus' name to get it done.
All right. So it's getting really late and I want to pop through these. Can we just kind of pop through without too much commentary? All right. So here we have Peter St. Onge saying regional banks are getting ready to crash.
Regional bank stocks crashed last week. The trigger was the bankruptcy of First Brands, an apparent $6 billion Ponzi scheme that bought up boring car parts makers, borrowed heavily against them, and blew up with at least $2.5 billion vanished, calling into question First Brands' other $10 billion of loans. The blow-up sent investment bank Jefferies crashing 9% in a single day, and it follows another automaker that blew up last month with a $170 million hole. Meanwhile, separate disclosures from a pair of large regionals piled on. Zions Bancorp fell nearly 20% after announcing it discovered 2 big commercial loans with, quote, apparent misrepresentations. Western Alliance fell 11% in a single day after disclosing it is suing a major borrowing for fraud. Together, these three account for nearly $250 billion in assets. They took the entire regional banking industry down 6% in a single day, as investors wonder if anybody's actually looking at these loans or do they just cut checks to anybody they sue. Or as JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon put it, quote, when you see one cockroach, there are probably more. Regional banks were already sitting on landmines in the crashing commercial real estate sector, with office vacancy rates hitting a record 20%. Pre-pandemic, it was 12%. According to Morgan Stanley, there's 18 years of supply sitting empty for Class A offices and 23 years for lower-grade Class B. Meanwhile, 7% of commercial real estate is in delinquency, despite banks gaming it with so-called extend and pretend, where the bank keeps lending new money to failed projects to make the loan appear healthy. Fraud if you do it, standard practice in banking. Now, this matters because commercial real estate makes up nearly 44% of regional bank assets, so if the industrial loans are also garbage, there is not much left. It's worth remembering regional banks nearly imploded just 2 years ago with a cascade of bank failures, starting with Silicon Valley Bank, that actually exceeded the 2008 crisis until the Fed and Treasury stepped in with a series of bailouts. These included $30 billion in write-offs, taxed from your bank account, $200 billion in sweetheart loans against fictitious asset values, and Janet Yellen promising to cover $20 trillion of deposits with just $100 billion at the FDIC, 200-to-1 leverage. Hedge funds eat your heart out. So it's next brought to you by I Trust Capital.
So I don't know where this goes. He is saying Peter St. Onge is maybe predicting some bank bailouts. I don't know. We'll see. But people are suffering. And Kayleigh McEnany smiling at the fact that Hamburger Helper is doing well right now because people are tightening their wallets.
What?
Last but not least, one trend in True Brand is making a big comeback as consumers tighten their wallets. And here it is, Hamburger Helper. The mix of mac and cheese and ground beef is seeing a surge in sales. And last but not least,
she says it with a smile on her face rather than like, I'm going to puke. And she's just laughing. The fact that people can barely afford food, that they're going back to Hamburger Helper. And this is the kind of news that's like, I just think to myself, I don't quite understand these newscasters.
Can I just real quick here tell you all, buy a bag of egg noodles, get some ground beef, take some flour and some beef broth, make a roux, put your beef in it with a little bit of flour, get it real bubbly and thick, boil some noodles, add some salt, add some pepper, add some garlic powder, maybe some parsley, throw it together. Homemade Hamburger Helper.
Do it that way, please. Yeah. All right. So this is a person who voted for MAGA, but they're struggling.
If you want to know how big of a problem hunger is in rural America, spend time at a mobile food bank.
It's 90% of what I consume.
74-year-old Lorna Hall made sure to be the first at this line in Clinton, Missouri.
You've been here since last night.
Yeah.
It's that important to get what you need.
Yes. and I don't keep the car running. I can't afford the gas, so I have sleeping bags to stay warm.
Folks here share a similar raw reality.
I still feel bad that I have to come up here and sit on a line, to get food. It's embarrassing as hell.
Leo and Donita Barnett are among the 175 households receiving food today.
Thank God we got it. We'd probably be sitting down there laying underneath a tree somewhere.
It's a matter of life or death.
It is.
There's a message from locals to politicians bickering 1,000 miles away.
Let's quit fighting. Democrats and Republicans, come on. There's people out here starving to death.
If Congress had to live on the budgets that we live on, they wouldn't survive.
This is so depressing to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to get into. I was telling this to Shauna and Condi today. They stopped by to pick up a grape arbor netting that we had. They're actually at Neil's right now for his healing service this weekend. Our AOL had for one of their top news, and yes, I still have an AOL account. It's my pet sitting business account that I'm not getting rid of because clients of 15 years email me there. That the cost of living for Social Security is going to go up like $50 for people coming up. They just released it
for senior citizens on Social
anybody
Security.
on Social Security.
You're only going to get $50 extra a month.
So the cost of living has gone up for these people $50, and the government meticulously looks at how much more it costs to live in 2026.
They make sure that inflation.
They make sure that that you get that extra $50 roughly. I mean, to give or take.
Yeah,
a month. I'm going. They are trying to kill off the surplus population. So again, speaking to you, did you talk about the food stamp thing? I don't know if you were going to talk about that at all. But what they do is they make you dependent on the system.
Yeah.
Then they pull the rug out from underneath of you. And it's a power move.
So the Democrats are using food stamps as a mean to say we're going to keep the government shut until you do what we want you to do. And a lot of those things are crazy. And we played them last week, like funding gay pride parades in, Tanzania or something like that. Right. So SNAP benefits in Georgia are probably going to be taken down. There's a list. Some states like Oklahoma are not going to be able to fund them. At least 25 states plan to cut their benefits. California, Arkansas, Hawaii, Indiana, Mississippi, New Jersey. The states don't have the money to fund it. SNAP serves 42 million people. Families receive an average of $187 per month to pay for groceries. If you are a senior citizen and all you have to live off of is your Social Security, let's say it's $1,200, $1,500 a month. You're paying your rent, you're paying your utilities, and a lot of senior citizens are supplemented with SNAP benefits, EBT. So it's not all, like I see it all over Twitter. Yeah, these deadbeats working and these single moms working, and let's get them out there. And I get it. I get it. But my mom was a single mom one time, and we had to use...
she was a single mom our whole lives.
But we had to use food stamps for a little while.
Back when they were like
and it was
paper.
So humiliating and embarrassing, and she hated it. But we had to go to the church because we didn't have food, and she cried, and it was so embarrassing. And if you've ever been in that position, then you know what I'm talking about. And so I would say, let's pretend like only a quarter of the people are actually decent people who need it. That this is what's happening is they're playing political hockey sticks. Now, my answer is not going to be their answer. Okay. Because I have a way bigger, mine is big picture. Okay. The Democrats put these people on the government handout list because they need them to keep voting for them. And they don't make it so that Americans can make a living. So this week, a woman just was arrested. She's facing 10 years in prison because she took her SNAP benefits, bought baking good goods, and then started a bakery with her EBT. Okay. And she made a ton of money, but she didn't declare it on her taxes, and they want the money back. Okay. This is the one I have. That's not the one. But the point is that a lot of people are saying that she shouldn't have done that, but you're allowed to buy seeds with your EBT and take those foods that you grow to the market. But technically, you're not allowed to use your EBT to then bake something and sell it. In my opinion, I would much rather her use her EBT to make money.
But let me tell you why anyone that's upset about that is upset about it, is because they don't want you to get better. They don't want you to do better. They don't want you to get yourself out of the hole.
Well, and some people were saying, well, she should just stop taking her EBT because she's making like, $10,000 or whatever a year on baked goods. That's a lot of work to bake for money because people don't pay that much money for baked goods. So she's working. She is working. And so if somebody wants to give her seed money to work, why not?
How did they find out that she was using her food stamp card for that specifically?
She probably ended up telling somebody. You know how you do. You know what I mean? God. Right. So, at least 25 states are going to cut off food for November.
And the other news in that, please tell them what you've been angry about that you've been telling me.
What is that?
Okay, I'll tell them what you tell me. Leah tells me all this stuff and then she doesn't ever come and tell it to you guys.
I did say it, and the Republicans are all glad. They just, a lot of people on Twitter are saying
all over Twitter that everybody is literally saying,
I want it to happen.
I want this shutdown to happen. I
want these people off the government assistance.
So it's one thing to want them off of it. It's another thing to want it to happen like that. Mm-hmm. To them. Mm-hmm. Like that makes you an inhumane, cruel person.
It's because there are a lot of clickbait accounts out there that are saying, I'm getting $2,000 in EBT or I'm getting $4,000 in EBT and this is what I spend it on and all these things.
But they do not represent every single person that is on food stamps. Most of the people that are on food stamps, I can't say most, whatever. A ton of people on food stamps are just quietly embarrassed
to use them.
That they have to use them. They don't want to, swipe their card or whatever they do now.
So back to the government regulations, and the government makes it super hard for anybody to start their own business.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was going to say that earlier. That was my commentary.
So Corey in Nicaragua says that you can grow your own goat, butcher your own goat, make a little goat meat taco, and then they encourage you to go sell it on the corner.
Like have a little food truck stand.
You can't even sell lemonade
AKA
without a
table.
License.
Like it's a little table they set up.
They will come and shut down your stinking lemonade license, much less you butchering your own goat to sell the meat on the corner. My point is that we have a regulation for every stupid thing in America to allow only for big corporations, and they put you in public school. And I was listening to a video the other day that said, public school, if you got A's or B's in school, you are a tool of the government. It was those kids that messed around, that didn't get good grades. Actually, they became entrepreneurs. But the A's and B'sers, you become an employee. That's what you do. That's all you know how to do. I'm an employee. The kids that excel in school become employees.
So, Leah, indulge me for 1 second, because this is a thought that I had earlier that I lost that I do think is super important. I was thinking about Argentina. I was thinking about, funding and all these different things that in America, like we need this, we need this, we need this. Okay, first and foremost, and Trump used to be this. In his first administration, he was this. He was always talking about all the regulations that he was going to cut.
Oh, I know.
Unfortunately, he ended up cutting regulations for big businesses and left the little guy hanging. And so if you really want to help Americans, if you really want to make America great again, if you really want to put America first, you will put Trump. It's free. We think that money is the answer to everything. We've got to fund. If your farm isn't doing well, you need a benefit. If like whatever it is, it's like, well, there's not enough money to go around. Whereas the rest of us as Americans are sitting here going, we don't want your stinking money. Mm-hmm. I don't want another government handout. I don't want a government program. I don't want your support. I just need to be allowed to do what I need to do to make money for myself and my family. Okay, legally.
So this goes to the Argentina beef. The Patriot Blonde says, F you, POTUS. I didn't work tirelessly for you for 2 campaigns, vote for you 3 times, lose friends, lose family members, and lose business opportunities over my support for you just so you could make Argentina great again. People are really upset about this importing of the Argentina beefs. China just bought soybeans from Argentina instead of the U.S. farmers, and now Trump wants to give Argentina a whopping $40 billion to bail them out. Americans want to buy U.S. beef and support our U.S. cattlemen. 77 ranchers go underground every day. And Trump is saying, we're going to buy Argentina beef, even though he's asked about U.S. ranchers losing their shirts. And he's like, you don't know what you're talking about. People in Argentina are suffering. That's not America first. I don't care. I thought we weren't supposed to care if people in Argentina are suffering. You're supposed to care if American ranchers are suffering.
Yeah.
Okay. You should be allowing people, American ranchers, to get their beef processed at a local processor and sell it by the cut. Because right now, in order to sell the meat, they have to have a USDA, and I don't even know, they don't have USDA facilities in Argentina or Brazil. And so they're just bringing in beef. You are undercutting American farmers, making sure that there are regulations in place in America that are not in other countries. And let
me read a couple of comments here. Glenda says, let's not even talk about prescriptions, right? Sherry says, and this is why people should never count on the government. Kind of difficult, though, with how they pile on taxes, et cetera, to keep many dependent. Prescriptions are ridiculous, but I would argue that most are unnecessary if doctors would treat underlying causes. Most prescriptions cause more problems and lead to needing more meds. Kimberly says, we started a small online business when we lived in Tennessee. When we moved to Ohio, we didn't restart because of the hassle of it all, too many fees, et cetera. Sherry says, I got A's and B's and I'm a business owner. LOL. She's our dentist. So Sherry, you're the exception to the rule that Leah's talking about. But yeah, I totally agree with you guys on that. Especially Sherry, what you're saying about prescriptions. Yeah, they are super expensive, but we should be treating the underlying cause.
A couple more things on the economy, and then we're going to play some interesting clips and sign off because it's getting super late. The average cost of a health plan for America is going up in 2026 because the Obamacare subsidies are going away, and it's really big. But I want to read this to you. Somebody says, "We'll never forget my friend confiding in me that her family of 4 was having extreme money issues and had gone months late on their mortgage, down to only one operational car, and their roof needed urgent repairs. I asked how much they paid for health insurance. She said $33,000 a year. $33,000 a year for 4 healthy people between the ages of 6 and 40 who rarely saw a doctor. I suggested she cancel her health insurance for 6 to 12 months to get their vehicle issues sorted out and to catch up on their mortgage. She was so offended and looked at me like I had just slapped her child and say, and have no health insurance? Good God, no. Now imagine paying $27,000 a year and paying cash for all your medical bills because the average cost of American health insurance plan is now $27,000 a year. A year. That is not insurance, okay? That's not insurance. And you need to understand that this is not, and I'm not, you know what? I'm not going to comment on that because I have a few more things I want to play. And Michelle's like, do you have some Turning Point USA things? I want to play Tucker on Bitcoin. I thought this was really good. Jeez. Nobody's going to break their leg for a year, and you could really pay off a lot of stuff. You pay off your house, man.
Explain to me who Satoshi was? The creator of Bitcoin, this mysterious guy who apparently died, but nobody knows who he was. I grew up in D.C. primarily in a government family, so CIA. That's my guess. Can't prove it, but you're telling me to invest in something whose founder is mysterious and has billions of dollars of unused Bitcoin. What is that? And no one can answer the question, including some of the biggest holders of Bitcoin in the world. Do I know personally? They're like, oh, it doesn't matter. What matters to me, right? And nobody can explain.
So I thought that was really great. Michelle, I would love to find that clip on abortion, but I want to play some a couple more good news clips. This is Ron DeSantis quadrupling down on getting rid of property taxes.
So we got to put it on the ballot, and the voters have to approve it. It's a constitutional issue in Florida. It's not something the state derives revenue for. It's a local issue. We're trying to focus on Florida homeowners and their primary resident. People that have Airbnbs or whatever, that's separate. Yeah. But your personal home, you shouldn't rent it from the government. You should own it. And, you're paying taxes for 50 years. But even for young families, it's become very difficult across this country to make ends meet. Wouldn't it be great if they were able to have home ownership without having the burden of property tax that. So that's coming to a ballot near you in November of 2026. And we need 60% of Florida voters to do it. And I think it's going to be very popular, but it's also something that's not an easy bar to reach when you have an election like that.
They have to, I'm super stoked for them, and I hope that they pass it because it's just mean a lot. All right, so I'm going to play Joe Rogan on Christianity.
I thought of going to church every now and again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy it?
I love it.
Yeah. I do too. It's a bunch of people that are going to try to make their lives
Joe
better.
Rogan
trying
likes
to be a
going to
better
church.
person. And they're trying to, I mean, for me at least, the place that I go to, they read and analyze passages in the Bible. I'm really interested in what these people were trying to say, because I don't think it's nothing. There's a lot of like atheists and secular people that just like to dismiss Christianity as being foolish. It's just fairy tales. I hear that amongst self-professed intelligent people. Like it's a fairy tale. I'm like, I don't know if that's true. I think there's more to it. I think it's history, but I think it's a confusing history. It's a confusing history because it was a long time ago, and it's people telling things in an oral tradition and writing things down in a language that you don't understand, in the context of a culture that you don't understand. And I think there's something to what they're saying. I don't think it's nothing.
No.
I think there's something to it, and there's a reason why it resonates with people. And Christianity in particular is the most fascinating to me because there's this one person that everybody agrees existed that somehow or another had the best plan for how human beings should interact with each other and behave, and was the best example of it, and even died in a non-violent, like it didn't even protest, died on the cross, supposedly for our sins. Like, it's a fascinating story. What does it represent, though? That's the real thing. What was that? Like, what happened? Who was Jesus Christ if it was a human being? What was that?
That's awesome. That's really good. I keep digging, Joe. Keep digging, Joe. That's really good.
It's hard. You need to do Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis because it helps people get over the intellectual hurdles of.
Sure.
It's super hard to get over an intellectual hurdle.
Yeah, especially when you're an overthinker. And the thing about Joe is that he, and he's been told this before, salvation is something that happens to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so he's waiting to think his way to it when it's a transformation of the actual heart.
I think that somebody like Joe could be reasoned with the right Christian apologetic.
Yeah, maybe. I did find this clip from Tucker. It was actually, I have not seen the whole thing. Apparently it's like a 50-minute debate that he had. But the one that everybody is sharing is where he goes in and he talks about the ritualistic, like I mentioned earlier, facet behind abortion. So this is a much shorter clip. So let me click on this and we can watch this one. I think you guys will like it. Hang on, let me put it in the right window here. Okay, Joe, you're getting overtaken by Tucker here. It's a Facebook clip, so those are harder to get to go. So hang on, be patient with me.
I probably could have found it on Twitter. You want me to try
It's
to find
fine.
it?
Nope, it's right here. It's fine. I just have to unmute it somehow. It is.
Abortion is murder, obviously, and everyone knows that. And people are so into it because it's the same ritual that every civilization ever been studied has engaged in, which is human sacrifice. Obviously, why did the Incas, and it wasn't just the Incas, it was my ancestors, the Vikings, all of them killed people in order to appease the gods and give themselves more power.
Abortion isn't ritualistic.
Are you joking? They had an abortion truck outside the Democratic Convention. While you're here, maybe you could get an abortion. No, it's the most crazed level of fanaticism I've ever seen. Like when I was a kid, they would say, well, there's probably some 12-year-old farm worker child who got raped and she's pregnant. And would you say to her she has to carry the baby? And I'd be like, oh, that's so sad. I can't, It makes me really sad. And I don't think she should have an abortion, but I get it. Now it's just no, abortion is the only right you have. It's all you have. You don't have the right to keep you from jabbing a needle in your arm with some unknown poison made by Pfizer. You don't have that right. You don't have the right to see what you really think. The only right you have is to murder your own kids? That's dark, dude. Listen to yourself. That's the saddest thing that could ever happen. Killing your children? The only thing in life, and I'm telling you this as a young person, with the greatest sincerity, I mean this as a father of four, the only thing that matters is not your stupid job at Citibank. Trust me, it doesn't matter. All that matters is having children, and your children are all that will matter to you. I don't care what you say. I've lived it. I know that's true. And so anyone who's like, oh, just kill your children. You know, I feel like a lot of the problems, I'm sorry, Brookie, to upset you. Sorry.
He brought his dog.
It's my dog. I don't yell at home. But no, I think it's just grotesque. It's shocking that this happens. And everyone's like, sorry. There's nothing more entitled than a female Springer Spaniel. Sorry. Anyway, it's the saddest thing. And to hear people like, I know a million people have had abortions. I don't know one who's happy about it, you know, and they're really sad about it. And it's awful.
Because it's not something that people take joy in. It's something that people do out of necessity.
No,
I think you're out of touch if you think it's a ritualistic thing.
Of course it's a ritual. How many abortions are there in this country every year?
And it's a matter of human rights, as you said. And it's a matter...
There's no human right to kill people, dude. Sorry. In fact, killing people is the enemy of human rights. The human right is to live.
It's not a person.
It's not a person. Okay, it's not a person. But everybody knows it is. It's just so dumb. It's not a person. It's like they won't. Why don't we show a video of an abortion? And let's see if you can sit through it. And you would feel sick to your stomach. You have. Oh, okay, maybe you liked it.
I grew up in a church that thought it would be...
No, I don't. I'm sorry I said that. No, I'm sorry. No one wants to talk about the details, ever. And the most horrific things in life, including a lot that happens in war, including transgender surgeries, definitely including abortion, it's all couched in abstract ideological terms which are designed to prevent you from facing what's actually happening. A human being is being beheaded with a knife inside a woman. And that, if that beheading didn't take place, that would be a person, a human being, who maybe would go on to lead some screwed up life, maybe wouldn't, but it's not up to us. We don't get to kill people simply because they're in the way, period. And if you can kill children who are in the way, you can kill the elderly who are in the way, and in the end, they'll be killing us who are in the way. You can't do that. I totally agree with you.
Wow.
But abortion is
Thank you,
murder,
Tucker.
obviously.
It was
And
so
everyone knows
again, like I said, he's not Charlie because Tucker is, in my opinion, too impassioned to be Charlie. Because if you're going to have a conversation and a civil conversation and a respectful conversation, you can't allow your emotions to overtake so that you belittle that person to make them look stupid. Unfortunately, Tucker did that several times in that conversation. So on that part, I did not like it, but he couldn't help himself.
Yeah.
But why? Because he's right. It is ritualistic. It is murder. And he's talking to somebody who's saying, but it's not a human.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to take them seriously. It's hard to be respectful. It is difficult. So I empathized with Tucker's unfortunate passion there. But like he's right that they are doing this. And there was actually a couple of points that I wish that he would have made that he didn't make as far as it being, ritualistic, because she literally said no one enjoys it. And that's not true. There are women out there
laugh about it all
that
the time.
laugh about it. They shout their abortion. Like I wish, and maybe he did, and I didn't see the rest of the clip, but he didn't in that one. And I just wish he had said that. So is that it for your show? Do you want to do a Coalition Reloaded song or do you want to just sign off? Cause it's been a long day.
Whatever you want to do.
Well, then that's the song we should play, right?
Okay, that's good.
100%.
I think,
that was a sign.
real.
Literally, that was a sign. So we have a group chat between Randall and his wife and Jason and Leah and I. And it just popped up right then at the base of Leah's screen. And I saw it. And he said that he sent his mom this new song. I was going to play a happier song.
But I think it goes along
but
with
he just wrote a song that Leah shared. If you guys are on our Facebook, then you would have already seen this. And it's called She Chose Life. And Leah shared it because that's what our mom did. So Leah was threatened. Do you want to read what you wrote maybe before we read this song? Let's go to our Facebook here because I think it's really powerful. And Randall commented back because he was like, wow, that was really, really powerful. Thank you for that. Oh, I retweeted the Glenn clip. That's funny. I forgot I did. I shared it. If you want to watch the Glenn clip on the Declaration of Independence, you can go watch that one.
I saw that last week. Yeah.
It was really, really good. And I've got a little shared video of the Cantrells making breakfast. Super fun over there. The more they put out, I'll share it on Facebook so you guys can follow them because you've been wondering how to follow them. And Christine put stuff out. So Leah said, I listened to this 3 times. Tears running down my face each time. This is beautiful. I went to make a reaction video, but didn't have the equipment. Maybe later. Everyone has a story. I thank my mom for choosing life. It wasn't easy. She was 20 years old with big dreams. She was planning on saving up money and traveling to every national park. She was offered money to eliminate me. Even when you get older, it still hits a certain way to think someone offered to pay to have you killed. For kids who were conceived and threatened with abortion, it actually goes into your development as a child. We've covered that on Healing for the Fractured Soul. Those of us with that scar remind the world that death is never the answer. That life is. My mom dedicated her whole life to being the best mom she could. She put all her dreams on a shelf to bring Michelle and I into this world. She was encouraged to eliminate us both. God had other plans. Great song, Randall.
So what Jason just shared with us is he says, he actually shares back he shared it with his mom, and his mom says, Jason, I just cannot get over how Randy's song must touch so many people. He is truly an amazing and talented person. God has given him a special gift in songwriting.
Amen.
I have loved every song that he has put out.
Us too. That's awesome.
And I'm an old person, but I think I can tell great music from bad music. Thanks for sharing that song with me. You know, the doctors wanted me to abort your brother, Brad, in the hospital because I had so much medicine because of my back problems, and I had not realized I was pregnant, but I could not imagine doing that. They told me he would have all kinds of issues and I might not be able to deliver him, but you know your brother Brad, he fought his way through it all, and so did I. I'm so glad I did, and I did not take their advice.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's amazing. All right. So let me cue this up here. And this song, I actually agree with her sentiment, and I said that something similar about how this song is going to touch so many people in different ways. It's going to touch people who had an abortion. It's going to touch people who did not have an abortion. It's going to touch people who tried to get someone to have an abortion. You know what I mean? And so I was thinking about that, like just how incredible this song is for, sorry, I'm doing a little rearranging here, for so many people with so many different walks of life. So without further ado, I think you guys are going to really, really enjoy this. It's a very powerful, powerful song.
You saw me before the world ever knew my name. Hold me together with mercy and flame. And don't say goodbye. I'm your future, your heartbeat, your God-given life.
I ain't a ghost, I'm a glimpse of grace in the form of flesh, a future flash from the fire that you almost suppressed. You don't know me yet, but I know you. I know the way you pray with a cracked voice, hoping it'll pull you through. I know the moment you freeze at the clinic door, shaking, debating, thinking life ain't worth fighting for. But I'm that flicker, that whisper that kept you awake. The why in your stomach that made you so late. I got your stubborn streak, your wild laugh, and your name. But none of it lives if you choose to erase the frame. You think you're broken, now you're chosen. Even cracked glass can catch light and stay golden. You told me bedtime stories about angels and faith. But mama, what if you cut that cord and close the gate? What if God wrote a symphony but you snuffed the sound? What if I'm the seed you buried but never watered the ground?
You saw me before the world ever knew my name. Hold me together with mercy and flame. Don't say goodbye, mama, not tonight. I'm your future, your heartbeat, your God-given life. I don't know if this is real or just a war in my head, but your voice cut through the silence like a threat through the dread. I was young, scared, barely holding my breath, feeling trapped with a test and a crossroad called death. People said I lose my future if I carry my past, that love had a price tag and this pain wouldn't last. But I see your eyes and they shimmer like mine. Your smile's a reflection of a purpose divine. How do you know about the bracelet I the gospel song I hung when I was feeling real bad. You told me I laughed like thunder rapping late. Only someone who lived it could say that with grace. My baby boy, I feel you. You're alive in my chest, kicking louder than fear, breaking out of my mess. Maybe God sent you back to rewrite this night, to show me my mistake could become right. You saw me before the world ever knew my name. Wove me together with mercy and flame. Don't say goodbye, mama, not tonight. I'm your future, your heartbeat, your God-given life.
Now I see you in a cap and gown, crowd standing a cheer. You look back at me with eyes full of tears. Your daughter runs up 9 as she screams, and I whisper, thank you, Lord, I didn't kill the dream. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Psalm 39, 13, 14.
You saw me before the world ever knew my name. Wove me together with mercy and flame. Don't say goodbye, mama, not tonight. I'm your future, your heartbeat, your God-given light. Heartbeat, can you hear the heartbeat? Can you hear the heartbeat?
That is, oh, we're not muted. Oh, I just turned us down.
Yay.
That is so good and so perfect for us to end tonight's show on, with that topic. Like, just what a sign from God. Somebody needed to hear that song tonight.
So Randy, I shared it on Resistance Chicks. I don't know if it's there. But Randy said that they wrote that for Desiree because Desiree had a record deal and she found out she was pregnant. And, she chose life. And
For her son, Sky.
Big is that? And
Yeah, it's
he
huge.
says, he first says back to me, what a powerful testimony of love, sacrifice, and divine purpose. Your mom's courage and faith echo through your life and through your words. She didn't just choose life, she chose legacy.
Amen.
It's amazing how God can take what the world sees as an inconvenience and turn it into influence.
Amen.
You and your sister are living proof that her dreams didn't die. They were simply
Amen.
reborn through you. You are the dream she carried. The same God who wrote her story is still writing yours, using every scar as a signature of his grace. See, he just writes. That's what he does. That's what he does. He just writes. Thank you for sharing that and reminding us that choosing life is choosing love. And Shauna says, wow, well said. Amen to this. And they definitely have a divine purpose. So thankful for their obedience. And there is another comment where he talks about Desiree here. Desi was getting ready to sign with a major label when she found out she was pregnant with her awesome son, Sky. She'll be the first to tell you it was worth everything. She wouldn't change a single thing, even though it's been a journey with its own challenges, just like any family, any parent. But I know this, God had a hand on Sky's life and he's going to use him in a mighty way.
That's amazing. So I think a lot of you have really powerful stories. And even if you did not choose life, God wants to redeem it. And I think that there's actually a line in this song that talks about that. So receive that. Receive the fact that God wants to redeem that this was done to you. It wasn't done, like, you are not a monster. This shouldn't have even been an available thing for you. So just receive peace. And we actually gave a word to Shauna today that I don't mind passing on to you guys, that God wants to heal regret in a lot of you. So receive that word here tonight from Resistance Chicks, that God wants to heal the regret that the devil keeps pounding over your head, that you did this, especially if you have had an abortion. There's now no condemnation for those that are in Christ Jesus. Kimberly Venzel says, no man can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws them, and I will raise him up on the last day. Amen. Amen, amen, amen. I think that's it for comments. Thank you guys for tuning in. A couple of reminders here, if you don't mind. This will just take me a second to get through these. It is the end of the month, so we will be doing our giveaway. One of the first episodes in November. So please feel free to start sending me your emails if you would like to. If you've never purchased from Resistance Chicks and you would like to enter in to win one of our collections, please put your address and which collection you would like to win. Yes, if you've entered in the past, you need to do it again.
Mhm.
So that's Mass Faith. That's my initials, MAS, Faith, Leah's middle name, 33@gmail.com. It's everywhere. You can find it. If you even want to go to the website, you can use the form that says contact us. Feel free to use that by all means. So that's announcement number 1. Please go and watch the Outliers that we did from Renee.
You're going to love it. It's going to so
More
encourage you.
people told me that they watched this twice
I
than
knew
they ever
would.
have for
I
any
knew you
episode
guys
like we've
would,
ever done.
'cause
You're like,
it's
I watched this
so
twice.
encouraging. So the power God was all over
We
it.
did a healing for the fractured soul this week, and we did a Revelation Red Pill this week. So
A
it's been a
lot.
jam-packed week full of shows.
Mhm.
So you have a lot to catch up on. So you have your homework. Next week should run as normal. Please go ahead and be thinking about and keeping on your calendar that in November, the third weekend in November, the 14th, 15th, and 16th, there will be no shows. We're going to be doing the Mustard Seed Market. So just know I'm going to start telling you guys that now, that we will not be here for those days, that Friday and that
And pray
Sunday.
for us because it's going to be a lot.
It's going to be cold. And pray for me over the next several weeks. I have to not only get enough products made for that show, we are also but we are doing another show that's going to have one night at Grant's Farm and Greenhouse. They do a little Christmas thing that kicks off their Christmas shop. So instead of selling plants, they allow local artisans and crafters to get a booth, and they've got a big train display. So we're going to have our products set up there where we don't even have to be there except for that one night. And I can go in on the weekends if I want. I've got to make enough products for that. Plus I have to make enough products for our Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale. Plus I have to make enough products to get us through Christmas. And I'm really excited about it. And I have some new products that I'm hoping to have time to introduce. So just pray for all of us. We've got a lot going on.
Introduce those in January.
Nope, we're doing it. I've got ideas. For sure we're doing the deodorant in the 4-ounce containers.
Yeah.
For sure we're doing that. Possibly a sunblock.
We don't need sunblock in the winter.
And
Let's wait till
one
the spring.
essential oil new thing. I'm doing one essential oil new thing. I've got 2 ideas for what I want to do there. And then the hair serum. I'm going to be doing that. So that's going to be coming for those of you that need hair growth. So that's going to be coming out. I'm really excited about it. Leah's making faces because Leah knows that we have a lot going on. That's the face. It's not that she's not excited about my
Look
products.
at the calendar. I love you, Jesus.
It's not that she's not excited about my products.
You just go away when you start to do products. You're gone.
On the front porch.
Yeah. Forever.
Right.
You're going to waste away to nothing.
It's my passion. I'm right there. I'm literally right there. I haven't gone anywhere.
We're going to make it happen.
Okay, we love you guys. God loves you. God bless. Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. We will see you next time right here from resistancechicks.com. You're amazing. Thank you for everybody that supports us, everybody that donuts, donuts. That's how late it is. That's how everybody that donuts
I do
to
not
us,
know what you're talking
everybody
about.
that donuts to Resistance Chicks, thank you for supporting us.
You could send donuts in the mail in our P.O. Box,
see right through you.
107, Milford, Ohio,
Please don't send
45150. They
Please
wouldn't
don't
really
send
fit in the
donuts.
box, but
don't take us seriously. Okay. We will see you guys on Sunday for our world news. You know it's going to be an awesome show. In the meantime, you can go and listen to their new song that Leah and I have not listened to yet.
they're trying to make a reaction video.
The Resistance Roosters. Yes, they wrote it. We haven't listened to it yet.
I know.
It's been 2 days.
I was going to today, but you were like around. And we were
know.
like, yeah.
Okay. We'll see you next time. God bless, guys. We love you.